FedEx full, we commanding the block. Burgundy and gold, got the city on lock. Hustling plays, ain't no need to pretend. DC reppin' strong and we fight to the end. Command is moving, no breaks, no pause. Hands in the dirt, respecting the call. K-Dot in the mid, dissect the grind. District divider with a city in mind. Trying to dance why, don't miss a bit. And you gotta spread the words, so shit is shit. K-Dot.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast. More specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. This episode, a lot happened since the last time we brought you guys an episode. It's been about 10 days, I think, K-Dot. So we got to get back on these mics and talk about David Blough being hired as the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. A meteoric rise over the past few months. We'll talk about him and his hiring. DJ Williams also hired. That's son of Doug Williams. He's going to be the quarterback's coach under David Blough. So we'll talk about both those names. We got the defensive coordinator search. We'll just throw around the names that we've heard so far, what we think of them real quick as more news continues to break. The stadium mockups have been revealed. A lot of positive reinforcement and feedback on it. And so we're going to talk about that. And we got our playoff predictions that we review and continue to predict, and the comment mailbag, as we always do. Before we begin this episode, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
You said DJ Williams, like son of, I just wanted DJ, son of Doug. I don't know why that felt like
that may be a thing moving forward.
Yeah. OCD. Shit. We're back. I mean, it's only 7 days for these assholes, but it's been 10 days for us. So I feel really rusty.
Yeah. And so with that, why don't we go ahead and shake that rust off? Let's talk about David Blough, who was hired, I think, this past weekend, so about 6-7 days ago. Yeah. And it was pretty quick from the feel of it, because a lot of people, once they found out Mike McDaniel was let go in Miami, went, oh, okay. And all of a sudden you're thinking the connection to Dan Quinn, and we're going to be able to land that. But you know what? Maybe he's going to get head coaching interviews. He'll probably be a head coach again. And out of nowhere, boom, David Blough hired as offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. Mentioned the meteoric rise. He started the season as the assistant quarterback's coach. Then Tavita Pritchard, quarterback's coach, takes the head coaching job at Stanford. David Blough gets promoted midseason to quarterback's coach. Cliff Kingsbury and the team mutually agree to part ways. David Blough hired at age 30 as the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. Close with Jaden, can represent some continuity. K-Dot, what did you think of the move?
I adored it from top to bottom. Now, after the last episode, in which I think the last 2 episodes, I've been showing more frustration than I think a lot of people necessarily have about everything that's been going on. And my main concern was that I didn't feel as though enough people were talking about the thing that I was concerned with, which was, and you clearly told me right after the pod was over, apparently I said it in the most succinct and easy way possible.
It's one sentence.
I was just fucking really rambling here on the show. And I guess the basic gist of it was the idea of leaving, going away from Cliff. And what made me feel really good about it is I listened to John Keim and Nikki, and they did a pod together, and they were having the same issue I was having. That's the main point, was that if you're going to get rid of Cliff, why now? Why'd you hire him in the first place, right? So it's like, if that's going to be the case, you're going to go to something different, then it's almost it's either you're admitting the plan has failed, which don't understand why, because the offense was working, or you just have a change of philosophy. And if this is a change of philosophy, then like, how does that change like that over the course of 2 years? After you have the successful 1 year and then you look at the injuries, then you hear Dan Quinn's not talking about the injuries inside there. Maybe he needs to talk about it more, but he's not using that as an excuse at all. I think it's outside the realm of reality, but whatever. But I think the thing to me is that what this speaks to, in like a grand sense, is the plan is working. Is that like the whole idea was that we were going to the Dan Quinn's biggest thing that was supposed to be his lesson from Atlanta was when Kyle left, they had no plan of succession, so they had to restart everything again. And like the idea of like Cliff leaving, it was like, all right, well, who's going to step up? And I think everybody kind of overlooked Blough, at least in the beginning, because all these nice, sexy names are out there. I mean, you got Kevin Stefanski's out there, Brian Dable's out there. You got Mike, like you got all these, got McDaniel out there. Like you got all these motherfuckers. I guess Mike McCarthy is still out there, but
he's out
whatever.
There.
Yeah, I always wonder what happened to Mike Holmgren. Where is he? Anybody know where Mike Holmgren is?
I believe he's out there.
How old is he now? He's got to be like 90.
Pretty old. I'll get on that.
So I think that like that part of it to me is like, at least they're sticking with the plan that was supposed to be there. It's like we're not supposed to be learning an entirely new system after 2 years, especially one that I think is working. So I think what ends up happening from a philosophical standpoint is that maybe there is just so like even listening to John Keim, Cliff was open during season to make changes to the offense. We've seen it. What Cliff Kingsbury did in Arizona compared to what it is did here is different. We've seen an evolution of that. But if in this offseason or towards the end of the season, there's a conversation between Dan and Cliff saying, hey, I want to lean into that even more. And Cliff's like, I don't think I want to do that, man. And it's like, okay, well, I guess this is just going to be the impasse we're at. But let's get somebody that is familiar with your system that you had, that you know from way back when you've had experience with him, and he knows the offense, and maybe he's going to add his own wrinkles to it. So you're not learning an entirely new system. You might be learning a new version of this. That to me is absolute perfection. That I feel as though we were already on the right track, and I didn't want us to leave that track. No matter how sexy the name Mike McDaniel is, and I would have been excited about it. It would have been counterintuitive to what the long-term plan is.
So I've got a number of thoughts on this. First and foremost, Mike Holmgren, 77 years old, and apparently speaks to Coach Mike McDonald frequently, head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. So he's around.
I'm telling
he's
you,
around.
He's the guy.
Just saying. He's out there. Now on to David Blough. He's 30 years old. And again, we have that meteoric rise that we had mentioned, right? Assistant QB's coach, then midseason quarterbacks coach, now offensive coordinator. He has an intriguing resume, right? He's played in the NFL, right? He's played under Ben Johnson. He's worked with Kevin O'Connell, right? So these are good names to be associated with. And of course, Cliff Kingsbury, right? Touching on Cliff Kingsbury one more time, I think fair or not, there was an expectation of even deeper evolution that you had mentioned. There was some evolution. I think they wanted even more, like you were mentioning, and it just seemed like that wasn't going to happen with Cliff, right? So with David, it is such an important moment and hire, right? We had talked about it last episode. This offensive coordinator hire, Dan Quinn's basically pushing all his chips on this one, right? Because if the offense isn't humming the way it's supposed to, and we don't get that complementary football and we're throwing a whole lot, that looks a lot like Cliff again, right? So here, I really, really am excited by the move, but I'm also a bit nervous about it. He has never called plays before, right? When you read about Sean McVay, right? And he was young when he became offensive coordinator. He was 28 or 29 years old. He said it took him a year or two to get used to calling plays and getting used to game flow and things like that, right? And he's the golden boy now. So for David Blough, how is he going to be able to handle that? I'm curious. I do think his experience is a lot more than people give him credit for. And I think that his relationship with Jaden is incredibly important and really good. Most importantly, they're the ones that do the Friday session where they're throwing into the net, right? So they have that competitiveness, but all reports say that come Sunday, they're very, very serious. It's an intriguing hire for me. I am excited by it. We have the young, sexy offensive mind, right? That we've always wanted. We have the graphic of, Matt LaFleur, of Kyle Shanahan, of Sean McVay, of Kevin O'Connell, all these guys leaving us. We finally kept ours, right? Does he pan out? Time will tell. That's for sure. The one other piece of this, though, that intrigued me was when the report came out that Mike McDaniel was willing to take a great offensive coordinator job over a good head coaching job. I just hope that we did our due diligence there, that we knew that, right? And that with that information, we still chose David Blough, that we prefer David Blough and the continuity of this 5-year plan that you and I have talked about some over Mike McDaniel. I think it would be negligence to not know that and then make this move. That was the only thought I had there, K-Dot.
Yeah, I'm not with you on that one. The more and more I feel about this, the more and more I'm thinking that this was always the plan. I think the moment that they knew they were moving from Cliff, it was Blough. I don't think anybody else really entered their thought process, honestly. There wasn't a big Mike McDaniel meeting. There wasn't a big anything meeting. What it felt like was every other thing that comes out of Ashburn, which is just quiet silence, and then the move happens. I think what's really telling is the two guys that leave the coaching staff are Cliff and Bobby. the two guys that probably like overall might have done the best job of anybody on the team as far as like from an output standpoint, but the two guys that are probably the closest together, and wherever Cliff's going to go, he's probably going to go with him. So you got that. But then the other component is that Blough, you'd also expect wherever Cliff's going to go, his top pick as far as who's going to be right there with him as far as OC probably would have been David Blough. So like my thing is like if you look at the rest of the staff and there's not a lot of movement there, if you got an Anthony Lynn and the rest of these guys coming back, then I think that they all know they don't feel like they got skipped over. They felt like this is part of the process, is part of the plan. Like the line of succession might not have included them. Because if you look at what happens from the preseason game where they're given like Tavita this responsibility, Blough got this responsibility, what's happening as far as that goes, it feels like this was always what was in the cards. I just think that maybe what you're looking at is that they might be a year early as far as like what's happening with the Cliff thing. I think that that's definitely a possibility with it. But also, there's another part of it, which is the stories that were coming out over the course of last week from Ashburn. To me, I can't say this for sure. It's just the only thing that makes sense to me. This all feel like it came from Cliff's camp to make him kind of look better. And I also think that from what I understand and what I'm hearing, there's no hard feelings with that. And my thing with the no hard feelings piece is that you basically tell Cliff, go do what you got to do to go get your head coaching job. We already know what we're doing here. Not worried about it. We don't have to worry about reputation. We're not worried about anything. Go do your thing. So like, throw us under the bus for a little bit. That's fine. Like, it doesn't matter to us. Like, we know what we're going to do with this. It just feels as though everything is pretty calm. And like so like what I'm saying as far as like, I think the offense works. I think that's the grand difference, right? Is like, to me, the offense works. It's proven to work. I have issues as far as the output in the offense, and I look at that as injuries. I look at that as Dayton Daniels and his decision-making, and I still think you got to work on those regardless, right? So if the offense itself works, then, like, what you do as far as bringing in Mike McDaniel or bringing in anybody else as far as, like, the due diligence piece, I don't think it's necessary. If you have your 5-year plan and you're still sticking to it. If the game plan or the idea is, hey, we picked an offense that we like, maybe we want to evolve it just a bit than what it has been, but we know we're always going to hire from within because that's what we're always building from, then I think you keep it completely internal. I think I don't think you have to look at anything and say, oh, well, I hope that would have happened that way, or I hope that would have happened that way. Because I'll tell you right now, a year from now, a grand chance you're in the exact same boat, if not worse, because now you hire Mike McDaniel, who might need to bring in his own team. And if he brings in his own team, there is no chance Mike McDaniel is going to sit there if he has success with this over the year, and it's not a head coaching year.
I just want to clarify my point. I'm not saying that this was a mistake, getting David Blough. Okay. And I'm not saying that I preferred Mike McDaniel to David Blough either. I was just saying that I hope that we had the information ahead of time on Mike McDaniel, and that this wasn't just reactionary. It was like, oh man, we're going to lose Blough. That's all I was going to say.
No, so but I know what you're saying. Maybe I'm going too far with it, but I know what you're saying.
Because I like this move. My whole point with Blough specifically was for fans, we need to be a bit patient, right? Because with him, right, this is going to be his first time play calling. There may be some bumps early on, right? I know we have Jaden Daniels. Yeah. I know we want to run a little bit more. But as he is figuring out game flow, that's why I cited the Sean McVay thing. It may take a little bit of time, and it may not look great from the jump. That's all.
I get what you're saying. I'm saying that, like, I think the fans and everyone need to kick it under. We still haven't done the season in review episode, and the reason
because news has just been breaking on this stuff.
I think that everyone needs to ask themselves if they think the offense works. I think that that's a fundamental thing. I think that if you think the game plan is working, then I don't think regardless of how it goes next year, you're second guessing anything that happened in this particular offseason as far as the offense coordinator move, because it's part of the plan. So the idea that you're missing out on Mike McDaniel, you're missing out on Brian Dable or anything doesn't really enter my brain at all, because I was already with the plan. And the plan to me was, there's a lot of succession. This is what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen. Is it a surprise to me that it's Blough and not Tavita Pritchard to some degree? I guess so, because I thought it probably would have been Tavita at the end of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So maybe but they stuck to the plan. And what I will give them credit to is the defense clearly was not working. We're not sticking with the game plan there. We will admit failure on that front, and we are going in a different direction. I appreciate that. But to me, it's them saying fundamentally, we don't need to rebuild the offense. The offense is there. The defense, we've got to go back to the drawing board. I think it's an honest assessment by them. I agree with the assessment from them, and I'm all for it. So like if David Blough ended up not being the right guy, I take that, but I look at that almost in a vacuum. I'm not going to feel under any circumstance the way it goes next year, because the way I feel about the offense this year, that we missed out on Mike McDaniel, or that they didn't do their due diligence on him, or they didn't do the due diligence to all this stuff. I'm cool with the plan.
I value the thoroughness of the process. I also, once again, between the two, I'm good with Blough because I also want the continuity. He's already got the relationship with the guys in the building. And when we hired Dan Quinn, one of my concerns was, hey, we may be recycling offensive coordinators, right? Therefore, this is the way it has to go, right? So, all I'm saying is with the connection, right, between Dan Quinn, Mike McDaniel, with the proven track record of Mike McDaniel, and with the idea that we want a Shanahan-style run game, which he brings, right, that we did the due diligence of, okay, he would take a great offensive coordinating gig, which we presumably have. It's an assumption with Jaden Daniels. You see some of the quotes on Mike McDaniel on Jaden Daniels, and you go, he would have enjoyed it.
I think it's his job.
But all I'm saying is, right, so I hope Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, et cetera, knew that and still made this choice.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I will go as far as to say I am pretty confident that Mike McDaniel would have taken the job if it was offered to him. I think so too. Actually feel pretty confident about it.
I do too.
I just don't think it was offered.
And that's fine. And that's fine. I just didn't want us to be like, oh, he would have taken a great OC job. Like, I want our guys to just know the information.
No, that's why. That's why I go back. That's why. All right. So I'll put it to you this way. Oh, the point of contention I had with you a little earlier that we didn't get to was the when you said Dan Quinn was pushing all his chips in. If, in my opinion, hiring Mike McDaniel is pushing all your fucking chips in. This is you admitting that the thing that you said you wanted to do 2 years ago, you already fucking bailed on. Now you're jumping to do something else. I don't have all day for you to keep hiring motherfuckers to figure out what it is you want to do. To me, I feel as though this move, in my opinion, speaks to even more security, in my opinion, for Adam Peters than the opposite thing. Here's my thing. I think the only piece to me that does not speak to security is the defense. But like I said, the understanding is he is admitting right now he failed on defense. If this defense is 30th ranked next year, he's gone. And the other piece that I know that you're probably going to get to, I'll beat you to the punch, is that he probably promoted his successor.
There you go. Yep, that's exactly right. Because if this defense doesn't turn around, right, and David Blough ends up putting out a pretty good offense, I think we just found our next guy. Yeah, I think that all of a sudden is the head coach at 31 years old. Agreed. And now we have the offensive guy. We don't need to worry about replacing the offense.
But that goes the defense thing. That's why I'm saying is like, I don't think the offense stuff has anything to do with Dan Quinn's job security as much as the defense. Because in my opinion, if the offense is humming this year, fucking humming, and the defense is fucking humming, do you know what it speaks to me?
Oh, no, then Dan's good.
Who's next up? Who's next? Who are we? Blough. Who's your guy that's supposed to be the guy to pick up? No, you don't get to take him as your offense coordinator when you go somewhere, bitch. You can't. You're leaving him here. This is the way it works. Because you know how you got your job, motherfucker. So, like, this is what and that to me is what I wanted to have happen here in Washington. And remember, I still feel great about where we're at. So this is fantastic to me.
I'm not as convinced that this was the mastermind plan.
Yeah.
Right. But I do think that there's certainly some pivots, right? There's certainly some pivots, but I do think that this is generally on the right track. I agree there. We're already talking about the defense. I wanted to touch on DJ Williams a little bit. Let's skip that. Let's talk about him next time. Let's talk about the defensive coordinators and the search for the defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. According to John Keim, seems like that we want a more experienced play caller, which is at least music to my ears, because I would like somebody that has been there, done that, to be able to help this defense out. That was such a mess last season, right? So the names that have been floated around, the least experienced one is Karl Scott. That's the defensive pass game coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. But when you watch the Seahawks play, it is an exciting name nonetheless, and he does have a nice resume with him. So that's Karl Scott. And then the bigger names, Brian Flores did actually interview with us, which was surprising to me. I think it's leverage, but we'll end up seeing if he somehow took the job here. That would be amazing. That'd be awesome. I would be very, very happy with that. And then the other names to look at, Raheem Morris and Jeff Ulbrich in Atlanta. John Keim also mentioned, hey, wait on Atlanta. We need to figure out what's going on there. Is Jeff Ulbrich being retained, for example? If he's not and he's available, seems like we might be high on him. And then there's Jonathan Gannon, who also got interviewed, previous head coach of the Arizona Cardinals and previous defensive coordinator of the then Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. K-Dot, bunch of names there. A bit of a laundry list, honestly. Which names stand out to you? How do you feel the search is going so far?
The leader in the clubhouse, just from a skill standpoint, would probably be Flores or Gannon. Just like to have them in the building, and I love their defensive mind. Every name you've mentioned, I'm cool with. Like, if in all honesty, any one of those hires, I'd be absolutely cool with. I think I'm more interested in how much is Dan going to divulge from his defense. In the sense of, like, if he goes against Raheem Morris, Raheem Morris, of course, is my top pick because, that would be my top 2 coaches from the last cycle, like, all together. Like if Mike McDaniel also got here for the offensive coordinator, you wouldn't have been able to contain me.
Well, not only that, I would have spent so much money advertising videos on X, on TikTok, you name it, being like, this guy called it a year and a half ago. Like, you guys need weekly spots on this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he literally brought you here. I don't know if you know that.
It's just fucking, the power of positive thinking.
Adam Peters answers to K-Dot. Yeah, go ahead.
Goddamn right. It's just a lot of fun pieces, I think, defensively. I think what I'm trying to figure out or wrap my head around is the same thing I'm looking offensively is, like, what does that mean as far as your succession plan? Is this truly throwing in the towel and saying the defense doesn't work? I don't think Dan's there. I kind of hope he's not there. I just kind of hope he's like, I want somebody that has familiarity with what it is I like to do, but I also have new ideas. I think more than anything, we need somebody that has just some fresh ideas. Flores, you back up the Brinks truck, you make him the highest paid motherfucker ever. Like, if you want to do that, if he's on some Steve Spagnuolo stuff, where it's like, hey, I'm content, cool. What I'm not for is somebody who's going to come here and be here for a year before they bounce and go off to do something else, which would be a high probability for Brian Flores and probably a pretty high probability for Gannon, because I don't think a lot of people blame Gannon completely for everything that happened in Arizona. So, like, that's my only is, like, I don't know. I don't know which direction you go in, but whoever it is, I'm really interested to see what they do with their coaching staffs.
Yeah, and that's going to be most important. On the subject of Brian Flores, because I think that is a name that excites the fan base the most, just because of what he did with Minnesota, how much pressure he's able to get with blitzing, mind you. But just his track record, right? I mean, he was in charge of the Miami Dolphins when Stephen Ross, I want to say those were text messages or something that came out where they were like, hey, we're trying to tank. And he was like, actually, we're going to win a bunch of games, even though everyone thinks we're the worst team in the NFL. The man brings a mindset with him that I think would be excellent for this defense. Because when I look at the top defenses in the NFL now, we were talking about the Texans beforehand. And let me preface this by saying I don't think we're going to be the Texans overnight. I think it's really, really hard to build what they did. And it's good for them. But there is a mindset they have. There is a mindset that the Seahawks have. There's a mindset that these top defenses have that I think the coaches bring with them. I think D'Amico Ryans brings that with him. I think Mike McDonald brings that with him. If you look at his Ravens defense just prior, right? Like that, I don't necessarily see with Dan Quinn actually, but I would see with a defensive coordinator hire. So like Brian Flores, I think that mindset is the most important thing to me from this defensive coordinator. The one that's like, yeah, we're going to hit you across the middle. You're going to feel it. Like that violence and energy is exactly what I think I want us to be able to capture with this D coordinator hire. That's the thing I'm looking out for the most. Brian Flores is the most obvious option from that perspective. I still expect him to stay in Minnesota or maybe take the Steelers job just because of their organizational stability if that were to be offered to him. Yeah. But if it somehow worked here, I'll say it now and I'll say it then when we hire him. I'd be over the fucking moon. That would be awesome. If we got Brian Flores.
Once again, none of them. I'd have to see what it is. What's their decision making process when they're putting together the team
and the staff, and then we would have them maybe succession plan there.
Have you heard Ryan Fitzpatrick on Flores?
No.
You should probably do some looking at that. So like there are a lot of people that still have not forgiven Flores for some of the shit that he has done. Now I've heard that he's made quite the inroads since the Miami days, and Lord knows he had to have because like
he had the Tua thing also. Yeah, there's
some bad shit with Flores when you start looking at like he's just as far as like asshole coaches, he was way up there. But what you're talking about as far as energy, so like I've talked about as far as like the mental aspect on this team and what I'm looking for from the intangible standpoint, and there's a quiet like stoicism that exists on the defense that exists. It's almost like they're molded in the sense of like the way Bobby Wagner sorts of does it. But I don't think it fits the vibe for most of the defense. Like I think most of the defense is more rah rah rah. When you talk about like Mike Sanders still or Jeremy Reeves or Frankie Louvu, they're psychos. And I think you kind of need that energy.
Yeah.
I think they got see, my favorite thing I might have seen from behind the scenes all season was Dan Quinn coaching the defense on Hard Knocks. When he's now the defense coordinator, and you see him out there running with the guys doing that stuff. I'm like, look, I like Joe Witt, but Joe Witt, once again, quiet stoicism, do your job. We don't need to be rah, 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 do this, do that. I just don't think the energy, to me, the perfect energy for that is not Brian Flores. It's Raheem Morris. Raheem is there is not a better fit, period, than Raheem Morris and his attitude for what it is this team does, which is like this, we're psychos, but we also have a little bit of that Jim Zorn, George Allen corniness to us. That's Raheem. I think you need somebody that can still smile, right? Like they have fun when they're doing it. The killers, I don't think we got killers on the team as much as we got guys that need to feel good vibes.
Interesting. And to your point, or maybe not to your point, but like one of the things you want is a defensive coordinator that could stick around for a while. Yeah. I think at this point, because Raheem already got his second chance as coach, right? Like he would be able to stay around for a while.
Although
right?
I did think about that with Cliff. I mean, but
but that man fails upwards on like anything we've ever seen.
Cliff is
he is an
unemployed.
anomaly.
And I still don't think he was a good. I still think there's a damn good chance he only walks away from this cycle as an OC at most.
Certainly possible. So Raheem Morris you would be able to get some longevity with him, and Dan Quinn and Raheem do have that. Yeah, they do have a connection, a strong one at that. And so, I mean, we'll see on the defensive coordinators. It seems like we're on the same page about the energy, and
we need a different energy.
We need a different energy. We just need a different energy.
And I did see it with Quinn at least a bit. Like going throughout the season, like you did kind of see it with the defense. Like they did look more on fire. It didn't take them long to get shit operated. Like we saw it. And to me, it's like, I'm like, Dan, I can see it. I see the vision.
Yeah.
I don't want you doing this because you're the head coach.
Correct. If it ends up being the best option, so be it. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Like it does look like we're going to actually hire a D coordinator who's going to call the plays. Again, they want an experienced play caller, according to John Keim. So we'll see what happens over there. Any final thoughts here, K-Dot, before we?
Please, Raheem.
Please, Raheem. Okay.
I want Raheem.
Okay.
I really do think it's a perfect fit.
I don't know what name I want here just yet. Like I know I'm excited by Brian Flores because I've seen him do it at so many spots now.
Oh yeah.
But I don't necessarily know that that's the right one, right? So like I'll do a little more over there as well.
Here's what I'd say. I think you can say unequivocally in this cycle, the best defensive mind available is Brian Flores. Period. I think there's a gap. You might want to give some credit to Jonathan Gannon. I think he's slightly overrated, just in my opinion, but
he's an interesting dude. Have you seen some of those clips of him interacting with his players?
Which is why when I talk about energy, I'm like, it would bring an interesting energy. I just don't know if we got guys that'll understand that energy here on the team.
I'm just imagining Frankie Louvu interacting with Jonathan Gannon, and I be a fly in the wall in that room. It would be. And we should launch that. If we're smart, we will launch that.
I think that I do think that there's an opportunity there. Like I think Brian Flores is once again the absolutely the most talented thing. I think that if you want to hire him or take the best out of your defense, you will short term. I just don't think he's going to be there long.
Do you think that there's any possibility? So John Keim also said this. See, we're rusty. I was like moving on to the next topic. I'm like, actually, we're back. So do you think that there's any thought on Al Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah, because for his immediate track record and Dan Quinn's quote about turnover margin and wanting to create turnovers, I tell you what, the defense in Chicago is a bit spotty and sketchy, but they turned that ball over. And they were also doing it in Dallas when Al Harris was there. That's the common denominator between the spots. And they do have ball hawking DBs. Like we would probably have to draft one or two as well, obviously. But we do have Trey Amos. We do have Mike Sanders still, who even though he had a down year, had multiple interceptions, right? So like, do you think that there's any chance Al Harris gets his name involved here?
Which is going back briefly to the David Blough thing. what I'm hearing as far as the point of contention, or the reason I don't buy the Mike McDaniels piece, is everybody saying, oh, they had to make the move because either Detroit was going to do it, or this was going to do it, or that was going to do it, or this was going to. I think, once again, this was always the plan as soon as they knew they were going to move on from Cliff. And the reason I would even say that's the case is because they're in no rush for the DC. They're in absolutely no rush as far as the DC.
Nor do they need to be.
They don't.
There's loads of time.
Right.
And loads
so,
of candidates.
And that's my thing is, like, I think that right now you could sit, wait, chill. Chicago's still in the playoffs. Like, let them figure that shit out. Let them get there where they need to be. I think there's a lot of names on the board. I think you want to make sure it's the right fit. I think you want to make sure everybody kind of goes through the process of the cycle. And I still think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, Raheem Morris will show.
All right. Well, there you go. K-Dot predicting Raheem Morris would be pretty sweet. Honestly, just from the defensive play calling standpoint, he's got the experience. He's got the connection to Dan Quinn, and he is a good defensive coordinator. And so with that, let's go over it. Let's talk about the stadium renderings. Super Bowl winning. The new stadium mock-ups have been revealed, and it was very, very well received by fans, both locally and nationally. And so it got a lot of praise. There is this idea of this transparent roof, which will then amplify sound when you're in there. It's very important to Josh Harris that this is one of the loudest, if not the loudest stadium in the NFL. Currently scheduled for completion 2030. We'll obviously see what happens over there. Building a stadium, it doesn't always go exactly as planned, but we'll see. K-Dot, your reaction to this?
I think this is a slam dunk 10 out of 10 and one of the best announcements I've seen from this team about anything in forever. So, like, considering the last administration and how it is, that, like, you remember the mock-up with the motherfuckers surfing outside?
And the ice rink?
And the moat. It's like, okay. No,
Dan clearly made those knowing full well nothing was happening.
No, Jason Wright's all around the world studying stadiums in there, right? So, like, such horseshit. I love that the entire game plan for this thing, I adore. Even what they're doing as far as from the tailgate experience. Like, look, I'm an old school football fan. If we're looking at, like, what I want personally, I want an open stadium. I'm not a fan, if you want to get a little nerdy as far as, like, architecture. I don't like brutalism as far as, like, an architectural style, but that also means that I don't like half of fucking Washington, D.C. and all the goddamn buildings that exist in it. But if you want to talk about something that, like, nails the history, nails the city, make sure that we're not adding to anything as far from, like, a pollution or environmental standpoint. Fuck the tailgate and let's create an experience that people can catch the metro here as easy as fucking possible. Get here, spend an entire day to do whatever it is you need to do as far as the game thing. I think and also to make sure you have a stadium, which is, if, like I said, up to me, open air stadium. That is fucking stupid as far as what you need to do to have a stadium to exist all year round and to be able to put you on the map as far as the World Cup and all these Olympic events and shit like that. This is this is a huge thing, and it looks as though he's kind of nailing it. And what that can mean, I saw somebody say this, and I do think it's honest. What you're seeing right here is probably the most important stadium in America, like, being constructed. And, like, and what they're doing as far as the way that shit looks in that landscape, as far as, like, when you see the Capitol building, you see the Washington Monument, like, it almost looks like it should have already existed.
Yeah, so architecturally, I think it looks awesome. I know you know the anti-brutalism thing, sure, but like, in terms of how it fits with the city, it does look quite cool. I am not that big into stadiums and the mock-ups and, like, how they look. When I saw this, though, I was pretty excited. It does look really, really cool. I like the location of it, obviously, with the metro being right there. It's great having it back in the city. And so, yeah, I'm excited for it. I don't think I'm as excited for it as other fans. I'm just like, I just want the team to win. I just want the team to win. I just want same thing with the name thing. But this is exciting stuff. And once this stadium is actually built and we get to see it, I know I'm going to get goosebumps. Just, like, walking there for the first time, looking at it for the first time. It's going to be really, really cool.
To lean on how much this reminds me of RFK without being, like, shitty about it, or, like, not being, I've not seen them. The only the stadium design that is my favorite is LA. I just think that's
SoFi?
I love what SoFi. I just think is incredible. You're not going to do that here. Makes sense for where it is. They got it there, but I don't think I've seen a stadium that looks more is what it should be as far as a part of the fabric of the city. Than the only one, maybe Lucas Oil in Indy, But beyond that, this is it. This shit, or Ford Field in Detroit probably is it. But this is right up there. And like I said, this feels almost like it's supposed to be a part of the fabric of the history of Washington, D.C. already. And to have something built new that does that already, oh my God. And the greenery of it. Although every time I go over there, I'm just going to remind about that police helicopter.
What a story that was. For OG listeners, they've heard that one. K-Dot, real quick, we didn't have this in our list of topics, but I figured we'd quickly squeeze it into the show. Jaden Daniels, flag football, Saudi Arabia. Your thoughts?
I don't care. I mean, I don't like the Saudi Arabia piece, but
sure.
I like that you're over there with Tom Brady, you're doing your damn thing. Like, at the end of the day, I look at people as like, you're adults, you make a decision, and you got to deal with the consequences if you fuck it up. If he goes out there and fucks himself up playing flag football, wow, I almost really messed it up. Flag football, there was an L.
I did not hear the first one.
I don't know if I said it or not.
It wasn't until you said there's an L that I go, oh, no way.
I'm just covering my base. I don't know if I did or not. I wasn't trying to. Flag, although I might have my thoughts on flag football, there are, look, go have fun, do your fucking thing. I don't like supporting the kingdom, but if there's anything bad that comes of it, you're gonna hear from me. But at the end of the day, I wish you the best of luck. I'm not gonna poo-poo him.
If he gets hurt playing flag football, he's not the guy. Oh, I'm just kidding. I mean, all jokes aside, like, I don't really care. Like, I think a lot of people getting nervous that he's going to get hurt playing flag football at his age is insane. Let him do what he wants to do. Other players are going to be playing in this. I think it's no big deal. Let the kid have some fun. It's his off-season.
There's about 40% of you out there, and I know you listening, right? Y'all need to come to terms where you don't trust Jaden.
That's honestly fair. A lot of people going, oh, I just don't like it because what if he gets hurt and stuff like that. He's 24, 25.
I think it's fair. If you want to have the conversation about whether or not you should trust Jaden, I'm down to have it. I just want them to at least be on Front Street about it.
Oh, yeah. That's totally fine. Yeah, as you know, I fully trust Jaden. Let's talk about the playoffs. It's been a pretty wild wild card weekend over there where I think, did they have 4 games decided by 4 points or less? Something along the lines. That was a record. And it was a really, really entertaining slate of games. K-Dot, as you can see, went 5-1. I went 3-3 after I told him before the show I was very confident in my picks, and he didn't say anything of that sort. He just said, okay, you know what? It's going to be wild. And surely he was correct. 5-1, strong start. K-Dot, your thoughts on the wild card round?
I was right. So I'll start there. I kept telling everybody, look at 2008. This is about to be fireworks. I'm like, I was so fucking ready for this weekend of football. You have no idea. And the fact that it lived up to the billing was so on point. I feel like such a bitch-ass little pussy-ass bitch for not just going out and picking Chicago that I wanted to fucking pick.
They should not have won that game.
Fuck you!
They should not have won that game.
Y'all gonna stop. You gotta stop. Y'all have to stop this shit.
No. It's voodoo. Don't get me wrong. I believe in that now. Now I'm like, oh, Chicago Rams coin toss.
Caleb Fucker, baby.
Yeah, no. And he did his part. I'm giving him full credit for his part.
Sauce.
When the Packers gained, I don't know, what felt like 8 yards in the entire second half after just steamrolling these guys in the first half.
That's baked in.
I'm putting a lot of it on the Packers collapse.
But that's baked in.
They did it again. No, sure.
It's baked
I
in.
didn't expect them to as the big brother there. That's all.
They're not. They're not anymore.
Historically, they are.
Fuck that shit. It's not the case anymore.
They were running screens to O linemen.
These fucking dudes, I'm telling you, it's changed.
There was no respect there.
All season long, I keep telling, because Brendan, our friend Brendan, is a huge Packers fan, and I kept telling him every week, I'm like, you scared of the Bears yet? You scared of the Bears yet? You scared of the Bears yet? No. And it's just that Packer fandom bullshit. You just think, I'm telling you, man, there's certain fan bases that just don't understand shit. Motherfuckers I cannot comprehend in someone's lifetime, they've only known 3 real starting quarterbacks. Fuck you. You don't know.
That's fair.
You don't understand.
I'm not saying I like Green Bay. I'm just saying that they have owned the Packers.
But no, what I'm saying is that when you get out of having 30 fucking years of Hall of Fame quarterback play, and the shit ain't there right now, it ain't what it was.
It wasn't Jordan Love's fault. He was unreal in that game.
Okay, all right. It's not Jordan Love's fault until you get near the end of the game, and then you get to how do you have a delay a game coming off a timeout?
That's right. I put that a lot on coaching as well.
It's going to be more
because the entire second half to me in the play.
No, hold on. Don't get me wrong. I don't trust LaFleur at all. So like
yeah,
that coaching
this was a black mark.
But I've been there. So like the whole coaching tree thing, of all the guys from that coaching tree that I don't trust, LaFleur is number one. I think he's too in love with himself. And throwing the football and shit. And, like, to me, the offense runs through Josh Jacobs. And I think that they wanted to go back to Josh Jacobs, and I will give Chicago credit. They said you're not going to. They sold out.
Right. So keep throwing. Like, that's the thing. Okay, so third quarter. Mm-hmm. By the way, you were right. Just to be abundantly clear, you're right. I'm just venting right now because this was absurd. Right. Oh, also Brandon McManus. For anybody that's like, I wish we still had Brandon McManus. Shut the fuck up right now. He also cost them that game. 2 missed field goals and a missed extra point. Let's not forget that. Okay. Moving forward, that talk is dead. Okay. To start, you're up 21-3. You also just missed a field goal before the half. Here you go. You get the ball. 3 plays, -2 yards. You took a minute off the clock. Then the next one. 3 plays, 8 yards. You took under 2 minutes off the clock. Then the next one, congratulations, you got to 5 plays, 13 yards, 2.5 minutes. The next one, 3 plays, -10 yards, 51 seconds off the clock. Now you wake up, touchdown. You cannot do that. Like, that's just, how do you put up 21 points in the first half? This is all me venting. How do you put up 21 points in the first half and then proceed to gain, what is this, 9 yards in your first 4 drives? And take 8 minutes off the clock, if that.
I give a lot of credit to Chicago. We just had a conversation about their defense coordinator, or there's some guy on the deep. Like, come on, man! Like,
he's the DB's coach.
Sorry, the DB's coach. What I still think Chicago overall did a damn good job locking in. But I think the most important piece is the complementary football piece, which is in the first half they couldn't do shit offensively. And the second half, what happens in all these games? I'm gonna keep telling you fuckers to stop doubting the boy. Like, you have to stop.
Do you have them? Do you now have them beating the Rams?
No, but that was never the thing.
Don't doubt
for me.
The boy.
I don't doubt him. I just don't think it's gonna be that. No, here's.
It's cold.
No. Did you see the weather? Like, that's some other. I still haven't. You were gonna hear me make my picks right now because I don't know what I don't know what I'm doing.
I clearly don't. 500.
But Chicago, it's the weather could absolutely be a monster for them, and like, yeah, but it's like, do I trust Caleb in those conditions to just physically be able to throw the football? No. So like, if that's the case, do I trust DeAndre Swift? No. Do I trust him more than Kyron Williams and Blake Corum? No. So like, that's where I go with that. But like, I think that if Caleb has an opportunity to win you a game, I put him in that air, man. I really do think he's got the special sauce.
You have to, just to be clear, and I'm a known Caleb Williams hater, right? You have to. What he has done this season in the fourth quarter is remarkable. Nobody's done it like him this season.
I went back and looked at the all the episodes we did about the quarterback pre-draft.
By the way, those are highly entertaining.
I said once in one episode that looks almost dead on, except for one, of course. Like, we're gonna remove JJ McCarthy away from this. Just realize and understand that it's a
golden boy.
I did at one point. I did say on this pod, the person with the brightest long-term future is Drake May. The person who's probably going to have the most special shit happen is Caleb Williams. And the person who's going to light the league on fire immediately is Jaden Daniels. So, like, I still feel that. I think I kind of feel that way. Drake May is a dude. Well, I want to pick Drake.
By the way, I also had Drake May with the high ceiling on our draft day cover. He does. Yeah, just the size that, like,
he's already there.
He got there a lot sooner than I thought he would.
He's top 5, and I'm not questioning it. Like, I questioned Jaden's top 5.
I'm not top 5. Okay.
I'm not questioning Drake's. I do not.
Who's your top 5 right now? So it's those 4, the classic 4 plus Drake.
Who's the classic 4?
The classic 4 is Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar. That's what everyone refers to as the big 4.
See, so it's the same thing with the conversation we had with the Rio thing. Is like, are we talking about like, is it a power ranking or is it just the best that you?
You're the one that said top 5, so you
Okay.
you determine your top 5 for me.
I like to use a top 5 in a sense of a power ranking, not like a list of going in the Hall of Fame. Like if I need to win a
that's
game
fine.
right now, then
Right.
then Josh is 1.
Okay.
Patrick's top 5. I don't want to put him in, but it did not look great. I'm probably still giving Mahomes number 2.
Okay.
I might have May 3.
All right. So top 3.
I might have May 3. Look, May has started some games rusty, but then when you look at the stat line, the rust is 2 incompletions. Like it's just fucking just lights out. The dude is unflappable. Watching him play football. Like here's the thing that I'm already at. The only other jersey I've ever owned outside of a Commanders jersey is Tom Brady.
Of course.
I think I'm getting the number 10. I like
You've
this
got to be
motherfucker, dog.
kidding me. Do you
I
have a
really like
Jaden
him.
jersey?
Yeah, I got multiple.
Okay, good. Just make sure. All right,
Yeah,
fine. Go ahead.
I
was
got-
going to say, this is blasphemy.
No, I
if
got
you, for whatever reason,
I
I
got
think
a
I've even
Jaden
seen you wear it,
throwback.
actually.
Yeah,
I got
the
immediately
throwback
blinded by
Yeah,
unyielding
fuck that.
rage for a moment. I apologize. Please continue.
There's certain dudes that I just love watching play football. As a matter of fact, the thing that spoils me the most about these playoffs, I love watching all these guys play football. I love the quarterbacks in this.
Oh, it's fun.
I love the quarterbacks in here. These are my
Okay.
favorite guys.
Oh, man.
These are my faves.
It's been great. And by the way, that 4th and 8th throw from Caleb Williams, once again, I try and be objective as well. Holy shit. I mean, he's running to his left. You talk about special sauce, and I push back on it a lot. That's special. Like that throw right there. I'm like, okay. Like that is crazy.
My only question for Caleb is he going to win it? So, like, I think that there's a good chance you have a Caleb Williams career that's more akin to I don't really have a great NFL comparison. Maybe I do. No, maybe I do. No, I don't think it quite fits. As far as lighting the league on fire and having some really good moments and, like, holy shit, did you see that? Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have a bunch of people being like, dude, did you see that man play? Like, he changed the way I think about football. It's almost Mike Vick or Allen Iverson-esque.
Let's do this.
Success.
That's fair. Let's do this before we continue talking about the playoffs. Just for right now, timestamp. This is always subject to change. Time capsule is what I meant to say. Timestamp. Time capsule. Entering next season, the 2024 QB draft class, your top 4 power ranked. Like which one you would want to start the season?
May.
Okay.
Caleb. Toss up between Jaden and Bo.
Okay.
And then JJ.
Over Penix, you just for good measure.
He's not in the list. I'm over Penix.
I am shocked. You have Bo and Jaden as a toss-up.
Do you see Denver's record?
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you know what I attribute it to?
Defense?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bo, the thing is, when I look at that, and I understand that, I have to look at Bo never reached out. Bo hasn't touched the heights of Jaden. Not close.
Yeah.
That being said, I still think there's also some just voodoo magic happening around that fucker. So if you're asking me who I select, like who am I selecting to get the best quarterback play, or who am I selecting that I'm going to win some games with? To me right now, Jaden's on that list of, am I going to make it through the full season?
Got it. He's not on that list for me. So my power ranking would be entering next season who I want as my starter. It's closer, much closer between Drake May and Jaden. I've got Jaden 1. I've got Drake 2. I've got Caleb 3. I've got Bo 4.
You can't. You can't.
Of course I can. He doesn't have an injury history prior to this season, really. Right? Like in college, he didn't get hurt. Last year, he had the one injury. That was it. This year was, to me, the anomaly. I don't think this is what it's going to be moving forward. And I do think that the reason we moved off of Cliff is to help preserve Jaden. And when Jaden's healthy, I think he's the best of the lot. That's it. I got Jaden 1. I don't think this is breaking news. I think you knew that.
I will listen to the Caleb thing. I will listen to
You
that.
have a
I don't
toss-up
agree with
between
it.
Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. That is way more blasphemous than what you think I'm doing right now.
I don't think so.
Oh, it is. Okay, comment Mailbag will weigh on that.
Just saying, y'all motherfuckers, y'all want to keep doubting the boy. And I ain't talking about Caleb, I'm talking about me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I think 3 is totally fine for Caleb.
I'm saying, like, I will listen to the debate for anything else. I think not putting Drake May number 1 is just not. It's just not it. It's one of those things that you've eliminated. I can't listen to your argument.
Here's what I know: in the playoffs, through Drake May had won his game, right? He turned it over 3 times.
Yeah.
Jaden was godlike in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
In the last 5 years, he still has the highest QBR out of any quarterback. That includes Mahomes, that includes Josh Allen, like all of them. Jaden still sits as king in his rookie year. The moment does not get to him at all. He doesn't take too many sacks. Drake May takes sacks. He fumbles, right? Like all this stuff is still true. So I still have Jaden 1 because I think in those true clutch moments, I need him. And a matter of fact, I'd have Caleb 2 in terms of clutch. Caleb maybe even 1 right now.
Clutch? Yeah, he's number 1.
Yeah, even right now, you can make the case for Caleb, and I'd be like, you know what? I get that. That's fine.
I mean,
Jaden's the kid. Jaden's the man. Jaden's the guy.
I will once again. If you want to compare Jaden and Caleb, I'm here for it. Like I'll listen to this.
But you have Drake that much higher now.
I don't think you can compare Drake anymore. I think it's over. I do think it's over.
Let's talk about the rest of the playoffs. So now we're in the divisional round. Thank you, K-Dot. Crushing it as always. Where'd you get this from again?
New York Times or Athletic.
Shout out to New York Times / Athletic, same thing. So we got Saturday, 4:30 p.m. We got Eastern. The Broncos hosting the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be a great game, I think. Then Saturday night, the other 1 seed with now a questionable Sam Darnold and I think a banged up left tackle as well, who may already be out. Seattle Seahawks host the San Francisco 49ers, who have vibes out the wazoo and a power plant that's injuring their players. Then 3 p.m., the Houston Texans go to New England to take on the Patriots on Sunday. And then 6:30 p.m., can the kid do it again? The Iceman, excuse me. Can the Iceman do it again? Caleb Williams hosts Matt Stafford and the LA Rams. A wonderful divisional round slate. I think each game is going to be awesome. I think all of them are going to be fantastic.
Did you see the post-game Caleb tweet?
No, I don't know that I
like
which one? Because I saw Lil Wayne.
It
was in response to that? Then yes, I did. I did. Yeah, that was dope.
I love this quarterback class, man. Here's the thing. I'm not thinking.
Cool.
Remember, I still love Jaden. I fucking adore Jaden Daniels. He's my.
I know. I did sort of paint you in a very dark light there.
No, I'm sorry. The inappropriate shit I could say that I'd let Jaden Daniels do to me or my family. It's like whatever, dog. Like have your way.
Back in good favor.
I'm like, no, I'm just. But I love this quarterback class. But I've been there from the beginning. I love this quarterback class. It's gonna be hard for me to pick. Let's do these before I change my mind any fucking further.
Make your picks.
Fucking who's playing? I'm joking.
I got you. You want me to go in order again? I can.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, cool. Bills, Broncos.
Bills.
They have 3 healthy wide receivers. 3.
I'm just picking Josh Allen.
I'll take the Broncos. I'll take the Broncos. I'm already wrong. Well, I'll be wrong one more time. All right, fine. Broncos against Bills. I got the Broncos. Rooting for the Bills, though. Rooting for the Bills because I really want. I'm tipping my hand. Bills, Texans, but we'll see. All right.
I think Haley will be there this time too.
Which jersey is she going to be wearing? Then you got. There is a photo of her in a Broncos jersey.
I will say this about Josh Allen. My love for Josh Allen is completely commiserate with how much he has his beard going. When he loses his beard, I hate him. Hate his guts.
We'll start doing some after we'll start doing some after the pots. Let's go. Niners go to Seattle, who are apparently banged up post-bye.
It should be Seattle, but I'm picking the Niners.
Ooh, you're riding the vibes.
It's not about vibes. I said at the beginning of the playoffs, I trust the Niners more than I trust a lot of these teams.
Fair enough. I will take the Seahawks in this one.
Jesus Christ, we are going. Okay.
Yep. All right.
Line of sand, baby.
Texans, Patriots. Who you got?
Pats.
Okay, so that is a change from what you had at the beginning, right?
I didn't pick them over the Houston?
No, I believe you have Texans Bills as your AFC championship.
Did I really?
Yeah, I think I wrote it down.
Okay, that might make sense. But yeah, me and you talked before the pod, and that Houston game made me feel worse about this team than better about
Yes,
this team. So
you did say
even
that.
If that's the case, I could say that, okay, I changed, and I will pick that.
I am reviewing your picks. Yeah, you have Houston over New England. That is flipping now for New England
Holy
over
shit,
Houston.
I got matchups correct?
Yeah. No. Your AFC is perfect so far. But you're now veering.
Yeah, I'm veering. Based
Pats
on what
over
I
Texans.
saw, I don't look. The Texans could get back to it. This league has been crazy, up and down, up and down. The parity's insane. I don't like what I saw from CJ last week.
I think both quarterbacks play a bit better than they did last week. So like I think Drake cleans it up a little bit. I think he runs more in this game. And I think CJ does clean it up. He doesn't bobble 5 snaps. I like the Texans in this spot. I do like their defense travels for sure. And I do think that the experience of CJ Stroud will eventually show, and getting that monkey off the back of a road playoff win, first in Texans history, helps. Then we go to Chicago. Rams, Bears. Who you got in this one?
Rams.
So do I, which means the Bears will probably win. All right. So now let's go over to the comment mailbag featuring. Go ahead, K-Dot.
I am fucking. What are we going to do with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck Nikki. Nikki's
right.
never getting back.
Gone. Well, a critical key component of the comment mailbag is to have comments loaded in front of me, which I currently don't have. I was busy.
Rusty, back.
Here we go. We got a lot of them. We'll see if this phone, which has been restarting every few minutes, just restarts on me, in which case I have it loaded up on a different screen. So please bear with me. And thank you guys. No, I'll read about it.
Fucking texting on WhatsApp like I'm you fucking foreigner.
WhatsApp's perfectly good. Wow.
I feel like ICE is gonna pick me up that I use WhatsApp. I feel like that's enough probable cause now. Like pull up. Wait, what texting app you use? WhatsApp. Get the fuck back in his van. Like I think that's it. I think that's
how they do. Oh,
I think they're just giveaways. Do you use Western Union? Get in the van. Like
that's their checklist. It's different things to do. Here's Jamal BB Charbonnery to start us off. Shout out. Oh well, that's that. I just hope AP can find someone better than Cliff. I don't think any of it had to do with the game of football. Clash of personalities or egos? Okay, your reaction.
The only thing I can think of behind the scenes, look, once again, I still have questions as far as the change. David Blough getting hired makes at least me know that the game plan itself is not completely gone in shit. But the idea of why it is they moved on Cliff is still something I am so curious about, and I want a real answer to that I'm never going to get.
I will continue to speculate that we knew Cliff's offense worked. It was a magical first year. And then I think we, with more data, got to see the other side of it, which is a lot of the quarterback runs, Jaden getting hurt. I think they just needed to see it for some reason. And then we're like, oh, shit.
See that. And in my opinion, if that is the case, I hate everyone. Like, I think
and you know what? That's fair. But it's the most logical thing in my mind.
And I think it makes them dumb. So, like, but that being said, I do think if there's anything that I could point to and, like, just off of what I see, I think there's a Jaden accountability piece that wasn't happening. Now, I don't know if that's going to get better with David Blough, who has no fucking cachet, really. But I think that anything is better than this in the sense that I don't think he was being held accountable to a standard in which I want it.
Hey, you know what? And as much as I love Jaden, I agree that there is some accountability needed over there. Here's Coach Lombard. Shout out. Yeah, pretty fun. And this was written before the playoff loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. I agree with firing Cliff and Witt, and I'd consider firing DQ too. But it's okay. It's okay now because they lost, so it's totally fine. I was low on Bobby Johnson, but offensive line was Washington's only good position group. Bobby is a Cliff guy. I won't try and guess the defense, but AP should hire a Shanahan/McVay assistant. It's hard to get a good coach laterally, which is why I'd fire DQ. Perhaps promoting Anthony Lynn and Ken Norton, respectively. It's a 3-year eval. Promoting Lynn and Norton would allow that to happen. I think AP just needs to replace the entire defense before an external, say, McDonald tree, gets hired. The McDonald defense requires smart players, and I don't think any of them are smart. Over the past 2 seasons, Jaden was hit more than any other QB. The Jaden piece with the hits, I think, is what the Cliff thing was about, and wanting to run more. It's also protecting Jaden. The other stuff is kind of crazy. K-Dot, your reaction.
once again, I go back to, I reject the idea that it was a number of runs or design runs that ends up being the end-all be-all. I do think Cliff tried to run the football. I really do think he did earn his job with it. There are some games where he got away from that, but I don't think there's an offense coordinator in the league that doesn't. I yell at all of them about it because I all think they get fucking pass happy all the goddamn time. Fuck the Eagles.
Fuck the Eagles. Jamal Bibi-Sharp on we goes.
There's so much in that fucking comment.
Yeah, no, it's.
Oh, also, yeah, fuck you. You said a defense with Bobby Wagner and it has no smart people. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Do you guys? Oh, this is Jamal. Bibi-Sharp on we again. Shout out. That sounded like shout up. Shout out. Do you guys get the feeling that JD might be a little hard to coach? Doesn't follow instructions and kind of does his own thing in the game. K-Dot, I'm actually curious as to your answer here.
I don't think he plays out of the scheme or out of the system. I just think he's trying to be the hero. I think that's something that's got to be shaken out of you. And once again, I don't think that that's unique to him. I've had the same criticism for Mahomes. I've had the same criticism for Josh Allen, which is why the Brian Dable thing kind of excited me, but it was also a double-edged sword because I was like, oh, he helped Josh Allen, and then he tried to get Jackson Dart killed. Don't know what's coming. So, like, I didn't know. But, like, I look at – so that's the point. What Brian Dable did with Jackson Dart compared to what Cliff Kingsbury was doing with Jaden Daniels, to me, is that's your night.
There's a difference. Yeah.
I think Cliff calls pass plays that he expects Jaden to get rid of the football and throw and not get hit. When he does get hit, it's because he tries to run and make things happen that he shouldn't have had to make happen. That, to me, is the difference. That, to me, is the thing that needs to stop. That, to me, is the thing where if you call 35 rushes a game, but you call 15 passes, and in 7 of those passes, Jaden thinks he has to do it by himself and runs anyway, I don't give a fuck what offense you install.
And that's
it's
fine.
Not gonna matter.
But that percentage gets incorporated, so that counts as a rush. And it doesn't. Like, it just doesn't bear out that way nonetheless. So you're right. So there's that piece of it. Does he do his own thing? I think he does sometimes do his own thing. I do think he's the hero. But that's also why entering this past offseason, I was particularly excited because with the offseason moves we made, I was thinking 49ers, like classic 49ers from the last few years, like East, where I was like, perfect. Like you're running more. It's more physical. But that, by the way, if you read stuff, that's kind of what they thought was going to happen, for whether it's right or wrong. Like,
why?
They had the same thought I did. I don't know why.
Look, it's me. It's John Thomas, Nikki Giroux, just in a room together.
No, by the way, no. Hold on. I'm gonna veer away from John there. Nikki and you, yes. John was not exactly all the way there.
No, I think John's asking the question, but John's being nice about it. John just won't go there.
But that's an interpretation.
I get it.
Nikki is with you.
No, I know Nikki is with me. And I feel good that Nikki's with me. It's like
that's fine.
Like I don't understand that at all. And this is where it goes. So, like, this is why it's important to have these discussions about this, especially this offseason, and really know what it is you thought or what it is we think about this team.
Yeah.
And this is why the in-season review episode is still important for us to do regardless of something.
Yes, absolutely.
Going into this season, I didn't feel good about the rushing game because I didn't like the talent in the running back room, right?
Right.
And I thought the offensive line that we had is more designed for pass pro than it is run blocking. In my opinion, when you have a Debo and when you have an Austin Eckler, it does not mean you're going to run the ball more. It does mean your short game, screen game is going to get bigger. And in some philosophies offensively, that replaces your rushing attack.
Right.
That's what I saw happening. Now, I thought I was kind of dead on with that as far as what they were trying to do early on in the season. Then Eckler goes down immediately. Then Debo goes down immediately. But the idea is if
Debo
you
goes
have
down.
Oh, no, sorry. Terry's down and Debo can't do that role. He's got to be your number one receiver, basically. So you need somebody to get down the field. Debo, it might not be the best thing he's at, but he's still the best on this team when Terry's not there to do it. So you have to force him to do that thing. The idea would be in a Cliff Kingsbury offense that I saw them making the improvements on, your running pass ratio is not really going to change. But what you take into account with the rushing ratio is passes behind the line of scrimmage, screen passes, things like that get kind of lumped in with the rushing attack. And in my opinion, if they stayed healthy, that's the vision. That's what you're supposed to do. And if you do that correctly, Jaden doesn't get hit because he's getting rid of the fucking football. And it's supposed to recreate what it is you're doing with the rushing attack. Short game, bursts, things like that.
Yeah.
The injuries to me force that away from it. But I still don't think that they're specifically designed to run the ball 35 times a game. They're just not. I don't think they're built
So
that way
I
right
remember when we had Rio on, and he was like, "I think Jaden's going to be the MVP this year."
Yeah.
And my thought was, I think Jaden's numbers are going to be worse. This is entering the season because I don't think he's throwing as much. I don't know where it came from, K-Dot. Honestly, like I just think we had a premium left tackle. I remember, I think it was Bram Weinstein and John Keim that were talking about it. And Bram was saying, well, he's a premium left tackle because of his pass pro, not because of his run blocking. Yeah. And John pushes back and he's like, well, he's a premium left tackle. It's not like he can't run block. You could still use him that way, and he's still good at it. So I was thinking with that left tackle, you do run more. With Debo, it is a jet sweep here and there, something like that, along with screen game. But it just felt like I didn't know what Jaden's role was anymore. I thought it was going to be dialed back. But anyway.
The only thing I thought might be dialed back was the designed runs. Remember, I thought Jaden was going to lead the team
exactly, because now we have Debo to help take some of those hits.
But what I'm saying, but that's not mutually exclusive. That still makes sense. That still tracks. So like the idea would be the Jaden, to me that I want to see. I want to see you running the football. But the way that I want to see you run the football is the best example of it is what you saw Drake May do in that game. The moment that he saw they're in man and their back is to me, oh, you're fucked.
Gone. Yeah.
I'm gone because there's no one touching me. I'm gone. Fuck, you guys you're going to do that to me? Okay, bitch. I got 25, 30 yards on you. That to me, if you got Jaden doing that, there is no one in the league stopping that motherfucker. No one in the league is stopping that dude. But what I don't want, they're in zone. They got a spy. You could have thrown the ball to Debo in the slant, but you wanted something more.
This is actually where I think David Blough is going to be very valuable. Having played more recently and his ideas, and they'll be able to share their experiences, their recent experiences on the field. I think from that perspective, it's going to be quite valuable. Also must be noted that when it comes to personnel and personnel decisions, and this is something we actually didn't cover because Jordan Schultz had a report that seems like AP wanted, whether we believe this or not, AP wanted some of the younger guys to play once we knew the season was lost. Personnel is up to the offensive coordinator, up to the defensive coordinator. I'm curious to see what David Blough decides to do with what pieces he wants to bring in and stuff like that. We'll have an episode on that also.
Well, that just goes to my frustration. And once again, you remember that the hardest part about all of this to me, I'm defending an offense I fundamentally don't like.
Yeah. I don't think that there was any I don't think that there was any doubt that the offense worked. Like, it's productive, right? Like,
that's
you
it.
get
That's
yards.
what we need.
I get it. Yeah, you get yards. I think it was the associated cost with it that got unearthed this season.
I finally figured it out. And here's the comment mailbag question. The question to you, I don't want an answer right now. I want everybody to marinate on it. Jaden's injuries this year. What percentage do you put on Cliff and what percentage do you put on Jaden?
Okay, I'll go ahead and marinate on that. And then we have Martin Collins going, as much as I hate to say it, Eagles and Texans Super Bowl. Good news, Martin. Eagles won't be there. Texans still might. K-Dot, your reaction.
Why the fuck did y'all believe in the Eagles like that, man? And I stay pat.
I'll tell you why.
It was a mistake not to play the offense, dog. It was a mistake not to play the offense.
Oh, yeah, they're out now.
Yeah, I know, but
we talked about it. It was a big deal.
And what got them out of the fucking thing? And also the Hard Knocks episode where Nick Sirianni's a little bitch. And although Jalen Hurts, I don't know, they need to subtitles on top of subtitles. I can't understand a fucking thing that motherfucker says in that show.
Yeah. No.
He's just mumbling like shit. What the fuck is he saying?
I have subtitles on when I'm listening on X. No, listen. So here's the Eagles. The reason I was confident was because their strength perfectly married to San Francisco's weakness, along with them being banged up. And I was like, oh, you just make it simple. Just run. That's it. Just run. And they didn't do it. Early on, they did. It was working. Then they started throwing. Then A.J. Brown started dropping, which was so fun to watch. Honestly, A.J. Brown, and just as a regular, as an overall sports fan, I was watching with a girlfriend and her family. They're Eagles fans. And I was getting mad at A.J. Brown. Just as a general fan, I was like, how do you talk so much and then drop the ball in the biggest moments?
I was trying to shut up.
And I love Terry McLaurin. It made me love Terry McLaurin even more.
Oh,
I was like, this man just catches fucking everything. And we have to hear people say AJ's better than him. He's not.
I think AJ's better than Terry McLaurin.
No, you got to catch it first. If you're not going to catch it in the big moments, it doesn't matter.
I'm not even disagreeing with you, but I think one of the reasons that AJ Brown is one of my favorite players is I like anything that shows seeds of dissentment in that.
Oh, well, that's true. From that perspective.
So, like, the only thing I'm wishing is that I get to see AJ Brown shirtless in a driveway doing push-ups at some point. So, like, that's what I'm hoping for. But from my understanding and everything that I've read, the moment the offensive coordinator's out is the moment all problems in Philadelphia are about to go away.
As we know. Yeah. Here is Paulo Man V8, also known as Pauly Polo. Shout out. Original intro song over there. Here is Paul.
Guilt card again.
There had to be something deeper regarding Cliff's philosophy on JD's long-term health strategy. Let me read that again because I was laughing through it. I apologize. There had to be something deeper regarding Cliff's philosophy on Jaden Daniels' long-term health strategy. I cannot imagine we got rid of him based on offensive results from this year alone. In my opinion, Jaden's long-term health and strategy around that is most important concern for the future of the Commanders. K-Dot, your reaction?
Once again, there's some stuff I need to know. I will never know. And I'm content with not knowing, I guess, at this point. I guess I'll see the way it'll all end up. But the Cliff Kingsbury piece, that is forever going to be a question mark to me. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And the accountability piece, and the thing, if it truly is the accountability piece, or it's that truly like, what are you asking Jaden to do, or how the difference is going to be with Jaden? I don't know how you solve that with a David Blough hire. So like, if everybody's going with that's the reason, I don't know how this solves that. If you went and got Mike McDaniel, okay. If you went and you got somebody else and you wanted to change the offensive philosophy completely and, like, just remove the aspect of Jaden having the ball in his hands ever because you're just going to run the football nonstop. All right. But I think
so. I want to say I don't think we're suddenly going to a 55-45, which would rank quite high in the NFL. Like, I don't think we're doing that. I think 60-40 or something like that. And I think we were probably closer to 66-34 or something along those lines. Like, it wasn't a good percentage. Just from the breakdown, and that includes quarterback scrambles being part of run, right? So, like, I think that's part of it. I don't expect with David Blough that we are second in the NFL in QB rushes, including scrambles. I don't think, but we'll find out. I was talking to Paul on the phone, and he had brought up this idea that the writing was on the wall the moment we shut Jaden Daniels down for Cliff. And it was a really interesting thought that I hadn't had, but it made total sense. It was like, okay, they already made the decision at that time. And then you heard Dan Quinn talk about him over the next few pressers, and it was like, oh, yeah, it was done then, wasn't it? Right? Like, that was...
I kind of agree with that. But that goes back to my thing is that the David Blough, I think this is all...
But then doesn't that tie into Jaden's health because they just don't trust him with Cliff?
I don't think they trust Jaden.
We'll find out.
I don't trust Jaden right now. I don't. Like, you've got to prove it to me, dog. Like, you've got to prove it to me.
And that's a fair take. That's a fair take.
Because the other take on it is that component, that piece that needs to be fixed, was also broken in 2024. It's still broken. It just hasn't been rectified. You still need to pick your spots on running better. You just lucked out more last year, and they didn't have guys spying you, or they didn't dedicate enough to
right.
Yeah. So like, but it was still the same fucking issue. You just improved dramatically compared to what it is you were doing because there were things that might have looked more wide open, or because at least you have receivers that gave you more space. That's to me the difference.
Oh, like, Jaden's first year, he was basically AI. He was just adapting on the fly and just figuring everything out. Boom, 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 boom.
I'll put it to you this way: if this season if they go into this season, Terry McLaurin doesn't miss any time, and Zacchaeus is still here.
That's a huge piece, by the way. I know people are just like, all of me to Zacchaeus. That's a huge piece.
I tell you, if you get those two pieces here, there's a chance at least one of those Jaden injuries doesn't happen.
I agree.
I put it that way.
I totally agree.
Right? So like, so that's where I go to is like, I say that to me, it's decision making.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. It's the question you're asking us to marinate on, right? Like, what percent? Yeah, so I'm not saying it's 100% Cliff.
No, of course. I know you're going to have I know the percentage you're going to have. Both guys are going to have some numbers for
you. Absolutely, yeah.
But actually, it just boils down to like the overall, the way the offense and the way that everything kind of worked out. It just makes sense to me. Like nothing. nothing seems crazy. Even what Jaden's doing while I'm frustrated doesn't seem nutty to me. It feels like the regular quarterback, especially when you got a guy that talented. And when you got a guy that talented on a team that's not as talented, he feels as though he has to do more. And then you go into everything we've talked about mentally as far as the savior complex that they tried not to give him at least early, and then it just sort of happened on its own over the course of the season because he was doing godlike things. It makes sense. All of it tracks. Nothing doesn't make sense to me except for why you hired Cliff Kingsbury in the first place.
Martin Collins goes, Wit. No surprise he was let go. But Cliff Kingsbury? Hey, fellas, what's next? Is this a house cleaning? Who is the commander? We know this is Josh Harris's team. Do we love DQ? In AP we trust? We going anywhere? We're no longer lost? Please tell me, are we there yet? Wake me when it's over and done. Get your reaction to that.
I was right there in that comment space until they promoted David Blough. And now, while I still have some questions, I feel much better that the overall game plan, we're still on point. We're still on track. The only thing that's a caveat is the defense.
And the other nice thing, if you're thinking about it from the money standpoint, is that promoting David Blough, if you are like, hey, we are allotting this amount, let's say, to between the coordinators, you can do a heck of a lot more spending on the defensive coordinator.
If that enters the psyche at all of our ownership group, then fuck them. I want.
There is a history of that with the Sixers.
There's a history of that with the Sixers, but I also think basketball and what the return on the investment is just a little different than what's going to happen with this.
Being run by basketball guys, K-Dot.
I'm not. Look, man, I
did all that to set up the joke, just to be clear.
I still apologize to Ben Johnson. I'm sorry, but like, I'm bad.
He does look smarter by the day, doesn't he?
Like, at least here's one thing I will admit to myself: at least I gave up on my Ben Johnson take before this season started. Okay, so you can't say I'm only looking at the results. I saw, hey, shit, your boy was wrong. Fuck it.
Martin
Maybe
Collins
he was
also,
right about the basketball thing too.
also goes, right, gotta love the parity in the NFL right now. So many teams that were in the playoffs last year are not this year, including us. That's one comment. And here's the other. Hey, look, the Baltimore Ravens fired John Harbaugh after 18 seasons. They will regret that. We all knew that this was coming. We have a quarterback and O-line and running backs. We need another wide receiver. The defense is a work in progress. We're going to have a winning product next year or everyone is on the hot seat. We'll be back. Keep the faith, y'all. K-Dot, your reaction.
John Harbaugh is a hell of a coach, and I still wanted him fired in Baltimore.
I think it was time.
Anybody else. It had to happen. I don't like how it happened at all. And that, to me, actually, Steve Bisciotti, I don't know if you guys saw the after-season press conference, which was 10 out of 10. I still think, Bisciotti, you were a fucking dick for the way you handled that. But overall, I just think it was time. I think everybody in the city kind of knew it was time. That also being said, John Harbaugh is a hell of a coach, and it is not always the grass is greener, but they have absolutely plateaued with him in Baltimore, and they need to shake it up. John Harbaugh to New York, I don't love, because I honestly think that honestly makes them a much better football team, and we got to deal with that fucker, and I don't like it. John Harbaugh is a hell of a coach. And in all honesty, I think he makes almost every organization better. If it wasn't for the fact that I do like what we have going as far as the Dan Quinn thing, I would have, if anybody was on the fence about like Dan Quinn being on the hot seat or like he might get fired next year, I would have fired his ass right now and hired John Harbaugh. That's how highly I think of John Harbaugh. Same way I feel about Tomlin.
Martin Collins goes, I just hope that you two will be back next year. Reference to the coordinators being gone. Yep, K-Dot and I are definitely going to be back next year talking about this team. K-Dot, your reaction to that?
I know you still be talking to Acho and them. And I
I'm
heard about
not,
this conversation.
Jesus.
Yeah, with Jay Gruden. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's everywhere now.
Here's Mr. Payne.
God, that sigh had pain in it.
It's fatigue and exhaustion from hearing these lies all the time. I'm just
I
like,
don't like
you know
hearing
what?
the word fatigue after being on Twitter too long. I'm black and I don't like it.
Okay. Once again, we'll be getting some after the pods here and there. Mr. Payne goes, Cliff was leaving regardless, people. That got 3 thumbs up, Kate. Do you think Cliff was going to leave regardless?
I think Cliff, I think, is being more strategic than people give him credit for being. I also do think that with Pauly Polo and all you guys, I do think the writing was kind of on the wall and they'd be kind of preparing themselves for it. I also think that everything you saw in the news media that came out about what was happening behind the scenes is all from Cliff's camp. I would bet money on it. I don't think he gets a gig. At least if it's going to be a gig, I think it's one of those ones where they kind of scramble to do it. So like him in Vegas, maybe. But I don't love that. I do think he can get an OC job somewhere. Like the Baltimore, him as OC in Baltimore, I think is mad interesting.
Have you heard the rumor? Baltimore, Jesse Minter, head coach, Cliff, OC.
Yeah, that to me
pretty intriguing.
I think it's very intriguing. I do think that. I think everybody here is going to be really pissed off when they see what Lamar Jackson does when he actually when he stands in the pocket and throws the fucking football instead of running all the goddamn time, and they fucking play, and then you see what Cliff Kingsbury fucking offense can do. The only piece of the Cliff Kingsbury offense that I would not put a whole lot of faith in as far as Baltimore is at that point they need to get rid of King Henry.
Yeah. Hey, bring him down. Bring him down just a little bit. Over
that
here.
Also doesn't work for the offense.
Well, we don't know what it looks like yet. We don't know what it looks like yet. Here's B. Wheeler. I'm also interested to see how many free agents are excited about Washington being a destination/landing spot compared to last year. I wonder if the allure is waning or is still there. That's one. We just have so many comments. I'm going to bunch these. Here's another for B. Wheeler. The uncertainties keep piling up. I'll try to remain stoic during this offseason and not get swayed to be excited or dejected with the acquisitions. There's so many areas that need to be addressed from OC, DC, defensive line, secondary, wide receivers, and linebackers. I'm interested in seeing how the team develops and protects Jaden. I'm hoping this bad season inspires the remaining players to hone in on their skills, assignment, and film study. Get out your reaction to the two. There's the free agent comment. Are we still a landing spot? And then the uncertainties of the offseason.
Landing spot, I'd say maybe. I don't quite know. I still think that we are high in people's estimation. I still think Jaden Daniels is somebody that still excites a lot of people, as you even saw on Hard Knocks when everybody's still paying attention to what it is that's going on as far as him. I still think you should absolutely believe in Jaden Daniels. Now, that being said, the big thing for me going into this offseason, and the most telling thing for me going into this offseason, is the Von Miller switch-up. Von Miller went from being that he was so stoked to come back to now he's campaigning for Denver. And while I did see a lot of fans that are coming from this standpoint, you fucking two-faced, I think it's the other way. I actually think the front office might be telling Von, there's no spot for you here this next year. I do think that there's a chance that we are moving into a different direction as far as the way we're going about free agency and the way we're going about drafting.
Perhaps. The Von Miller thing registered on my radar is 0%. I think it's an upcoming free agent that is allowed to say whatever he wants to say, and ultimately he'll sign wherever he signs.
I get that. I do think that if you want to be interesting about it, look at it from the angle of Washington telling some of these guys, hey,
sure,
the door's not open anymore for this. We're going in a different direction.
I just think without knowing who the defensive coordinator is, we couldn't possibly have that conversation. Like, I just think that there is still, because when the defensive coordinator gets hired, they are still going to surely have power over personnel, and we're like, hey, Von Miller was here. I don't think you're going to close the door on Von and be like, by the way, we're not bringing him back. If we hire you.
But my understanding is they have power of the personnel that they are given, not power over who it is that comes in.
But they'll still have say, right? Like they'll still have an opinion that will be weighed. And Adam Peters can be like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. We're not doing that. But surely if Raheem Morris, is getting hired and he's like, I need Von Miller here, do you think we're not bringing him in?
Then what the fuck Raheem's doing that you need Von Miller?
Okay, that's fine.
I like Von. I love him. I think.
Yeah, I just don't think that meant anything.
I get what you're saying.
That's all. Jamal, it's leverage. Jamal Bibishar Bond. I think with this firing, AD and DQ, Adam Peters and Dan Quinn made sure all the shit that happened this year carries into next year. The more I think about this, the more pissed I get, and getting this disdain for DQ, probably to save his own ass. I just hope we hear from Cliff in regards to this. Now, we hired David Blough after that. This comment was made before that hiring. Kid, your reaction.
This is going to be the fight this offseason. I love it. It's another levy. I don't think this season went as bad as you do, fucker. I don't. And that's going to be the fundamental thing. Defensively, I hear you out. Want some shit? I will. But overall, I don't know. And it's even at the point where I'm hearing about what's happening behind the scenes, I kind of want to shake Dan Quinn. It was the injuries, asshole.
If I could just jump in for a moment. We had the most games missed by starters in the NFL this past season. By a good amount. Please continue.
That doesn't have any impact. No. So I'm like, you hear something like that, and everybody just wants to go and shit on everybody. I'm just like, Do we not want to at least extrapolate like what that might mean for a team? Like, can we just give them a little credit that, like, if they might have been healthier, what could have been? Like, do you think if we didn't have the injuries, we'd have the exact same record? Do you honestly believe that?
No, I think we'd have a much better record.
I know you. I was more asking everybody. Like, do you get like if that to me is the thing. I just think everybody, once again, y'all motherfuckers. This is where I lump you back in. Y'all with your goddamn with all your hurt coming off the Dan Snyder era and your PTSD, and then things went good and nothing can go good anymore, and it's just energy. It's what does Silva say in Skyfall? You're like a kite in a hurricane, Mr. Bond. It's like that's where I'm at.
Line.
Y'all you're kites and hurricanes, okay? Y'all just don't know what to do. You just want shit to happen. I get it. There's frustration with what's happened last season. And there are things that I see are through lines from 2024.
I'm going to divorce myself from this lump that you just made.
Okay.
Because that's a bridge too far for me. I did not say, hey, get rid of everybody. I would have 3 years ago. Previous summit. With Dan Snyder in charge? Oh, yeah. I'm saying get rid of everybody. How have we not won the Super Bowl? This is absurd. Here's Jim Sleazy. Oh, shit. Jim Sleazy. Shout out.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's why I said it. Kyler Murray and Johnny Manziel. He developed them to improvise. JD pretty much had to do the same thing on 3rd and 4th down. Good riddance to Kingsbury.
When y'all watch football, how do you do for an offense to work or not work? What do you guys look at? Like, what is the benchmark to knowing whether or not an offense is something that works or it's an offense is something that doesn't work? Is it just what the end result is as far as like where you go, as far as like in your run of the Super Bowl? Like, if you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, do you say their offense is broken? Like, what are we looking at as far as like what is the benchmark?
Actually, no, that's interesting. So, I know you're asking the general audience, but just a quick conversation on that. I do think that they're like 300 yards gained, mostly passing, versus 300 yards gained running a bit more and passing, right? Like, just assume that the distribution is a little bit different. I think does have drastic effects, right? Like to the complementary side of things. And so I do think that this is largely about, for me, once it came out that Cliff may be gone, right? That there is an idea that Cliff could, be fired, or they mutually agree to part ways, whatever. The word I used when we talked about this was relief. And I was like, you know what? Yes, the offense works.
Yeah.
But now that we've seen the cost of it, and I'm not just talking about Jaden here, I'm talking about the clock stopping on incompletions. I'm talking about, a lot of rolling around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just not conducive to, I think, championship football.
Okay.
But that's just me. Right. So that's all.
That is probably the best case against some of what I've said that I've heard. But I'd also say that a lot of that stuff I agree with, as far as like what I talk about with the through line.
Mm-hmm.
The through line for 2024 to this. Like, if you want to have a conversation about why it takes so long to get some of these plays in sometimes, some of the delay of game shit and some of the other stuff, I'm right there with you. They're definitely, Cliff is far from fucking perfect. Some of his sequencing has been bad.
Sure. No one's perfect. Like, even the best play callers, like, best play designers. Yeah. Here's a good one. How about Coach Lombard over here? And it is good. Ben Sinnott needs to be a fullback full time. And I think Washington lacked an identity this season too. How much are you guys blaming on the injuries is the question. K-Dot, go ahead.
I'm in like the 80%, 80 to 90%.
We lost a lot of people.
That's where I'm at. So I'm at 80, 90%. And that also includes Jaden, of course, down the stretch. So that's where I go as far as that. Yeah, that's my percentage.
Okay. And I will blame them not as high, because I already had some minor questions around the coaching staff in any case with player development and things like that, just based on who's playing with the injuries. We're still playing the vets over the younger guy. I was hoping that incorporation would occur. So I would go, it's still greater than 50%. I would probably go like 60, 65.
But here's why that question's weird too. Because like, even what that means, it's what we're saying isn't even on the same plane though. So like because here's the point. I put it at 80 to 90%. I only had them winning a handful more games than that.
Yes.
So like when I say that, I'm like, yeah, okay, not a big deal to me. But if you had them at 12 wins and a Super Bowl berth,
mm-hmm.
all right, that might mean something different to you. But like for me, they weren't far off from where I thought the talent put them.
You had what, 9 and 8, if I remember correctly, right?
You could have said 8 or 9 wins, period, and it was a toss.
You're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I looked at the season I look at the season last year. I look at them having no film on Jaden. I look at sophomore slump aspects of things, and I just look at the talent, and I'm like, I think they got better. But then even if they got better, I never got to see it because they never played together.
Yeah, that's true. The Big Wiggle. First off, great name. Shout out. At the 53-35 mark, I hate fans like this with 3 laughing emojis. Another team losing a playoff game the year after winning the Super Bowl doesn't mean Commanders fans get to feast on that when you win 5 games. Only in football will a fan of a very bad team try to mock the division winner for losing in the playoffs. Okay, your reaction.
I hate the Eagles. And I don't, you know what I hate the most? I hate that Hard Knocks had me liking some of them.
I don't, so I've said, so I know a number of Eagles fans. You know a number of Eagles fans. The players I don't have a problem with except for Jalen Carter. A big problem with Jalen Carter. I think he's a dirty player. Like he pokes people in the eye. He like grabs face mat. Like he does all sorts of antagonistic shit that I can't stand. And it's not like the Draymond Green type. Like he is literally like, other players just don't do that. Like these are penalties, like blatant penalties. So I can't stand Jalen Carter, let alone his background. Like it just ridiculous. But the rest of them, no, I don't have problems with the rest of the Eagles. Devontae Smith, AJ Saquon, like Jalen. No, I got no problems with these guys. No. That being said, fuck them. Here's Paulo Man V8 one more time. Pauly Polo. Also, let's be honest with ourselves. If we had just stuck with Taylor Heineke, we'd be 2 to 3 Super Bowl victories deep by now. Kid, out your reaction.
I'm glad I changed your theme song.
I'm with Polo on that. You know how much I love Taylor Heineke. Who knows?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, but I heard one too many things about what he feels politically for me to fuck with him right now.
Here is Jim Morris. Shout out. I think this will be better for Jaden. Also, now we can stop hearing everyone bitching about Cliff after every game. K-Dot's take on this is ridiculous, and I usually don't say that about him. None of us will ever know, but maybe Cliff wanted out. K-Dot, your reaction.
I don't know. Maybe that changes. I don't know. Please explain to me.
It's been 10 days now. Even I've kind of forgotten, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I guess it's the anger that I had about everything. And I still I still have the same fundamental questions I've had from the very beginning. The only thing that has been satiated for me is they haven't diverged from what it is the overall game plan was, which makes me feel some sort of confidence in some of it, that they still held on to certain aspects of it. I still don't understand certain things, and I still have questions about it. They're not going to be answered, so I got to kind of live with that. So I mean, if you can offer more clarity on what it is exactly I was ridiculous about, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's fair. And here is Tony. Shout out Tony OG. I agree with Amit's assessment of 2 years not being a waste of time. They had some success, and now they should be hungry to eclipse that. It feels like this was always the plan for Cliff, but he stayed for the organization, Jaden, and the fans to finish what they started and get more mentorship from DQ. This was my concern with the defensive head coach. I know it doesn't really mean anything, but OC success creates a carousel of OCs. The Witt experiment was just a disaster. Al Harris must have been the key reason for Dallas's turnovers because the turnovers followed him to Chicago. Kid, out your reaction.
I would just ask, has anything changed with the Blough promotion?
That is fair. I do, the more I think about it, because I wonder if the OC carousel does play into Adam Peters' thinking at all. If there is any sort of seed of doubt around Dan Quinn being like the head coach. I don't think so, just to be clear. But it is a curiosity of mine.
I don't see, and this is where the pushback that I have on all this shit is none of the variables that existed before these hires got made have changed. It's the same thing. And the criticisms that everybody had back then, remember, I had to defend me wanting a defensive-minded coach as my head coach.
Yep.
Right? So, like, nothing changed. So the idea that all these people had this giant change of heart after 2 seasons, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with everybody?
Well, okay. So, but here,
If that's the case. 'Cause I don't know if
yeah.
that's
No, no, no. The reason I like Dan Quinn, and I'm still pro Dan Quinn, is because you introduced me to and sold me on the idea of the CEO type, right? The guy that oversees everything. So from that perspective, I really like Dan Quinn, right? And I'm fine with him being the leader for a long time, right? Because if he's
I got to interrupt because this idea just came out of my head, and I want to. I think this is important.
Yeah.
Could the entire season and everything that we feel that happened at the end of the season hinge on the only thing that was unexpected was Tavita Pritchard leaving?
Elaborate.
There was a case that Cliff was going to go. Cliff wanted to be a head coach. Cliff was going to try to take advantage of this right now, and they were going to move on and do the next step as far as the offensive coordinator thing. The plan was Tavita Pritchard was going to step up, but him going to Stanford changed that.
Okay, so do you think we're just entertaining the scenario here? Yeah. Do you think, because that is interesting, do you think that the team, whether that's Adam or Dan, like maybe Cliff beforehand, like knew that like, hey, Cliff's going to be gone after this year, right? Because last year people wanted him for head coaching jobs, right? Because of how good the season went for our offense, how transformative Jaden Daniels was. There were other teams with younger quarterbacks. They're like, man, we can fix ours, right? Like we just hire him as our head coach. We can do it. Do you think that he knew that like there was that sort of plan or that idea of a plan and that he still took Stanford's head coaching job?
Maybe. Because there's some people that want to get the head gig. There's some people that know, hey, maybe the issues that I see here, I'm not going to do any better with it. So like, I don't know. So like there's tons of things, but I would just say that like, I think that people feel different about this. If Cliff leaves and it's and you hear in the media, there's a conversation about whether or not Pritchard or Blough are going to step up. I think it just feels different. And there's a different feel. There's a different vibe to it. It doesn't feel as, because like even me, I feel like a fucking moron to some degree of how terrible I felt at the beginning for them just to promote within. And I'm going to like, oh, well, that kind of satiated me easily. Why was you so upset?
So so by the way, what was your gut reaction, instant reaction when you saw David Blough was hired?
Holy shit. Wow. Okay. I guess they did have more sense than I thought.
Okay. I was just curious because mine was like, oh, cool. You know, I wasn't like, what are we doing? I was like, nice. Like he already knows Jaden. He already knows the offense. He's there.
The plan. I go back to the 5-year plan that I'm still on, man. I'm still there.
And that we liked elephants. That we liked elements of Cliff's offense, which I think represents some of that continuity. And also we're looking for a slightly different idea. David being a quarterback in the NFL
Cliff
very recently.
Bridge too far.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Cliff might have said, hey man, I'm willing to compromise, but y'all just too far.
I think that's what happened.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't everything that everybody's saying. There was
no hard
fireworks. There
right?
wasn't any hard feelings. The only thing that I will say, and I keep going back to all them leaked reports, is Cliff.
Yes, based on what I was reading. Yes. All right. And here is, let's see, where are we right now? Okay.
Jeez,
okay.
How many comments do we have?
Yeah, there were a lot, dude.
God damn.
Popular podcast. I don't know what to tell you. Here's the Nathan Perry shout out.
Oh shit. All right.
Do you think this team is closer to this past season than the season before? I think these changes make sense if you think we're closer to this past season. Injuries aside, the offense was stagnant. Advanced analytics have Washington in the knack middle offensively. The first season was lightning in a bottle. I would have felt better about Cliff Kingsbury leaving after 2 successful seasons, but I'm not exactly sad after this year's season. K-Dot, your reaction?
Once again, I put more in the injuries than that. And I will say that if we want to have a conversation, because the other piece of it, as far as the offensive piece that we don't talk about enough, is people talk about the complementary football from the offensive standpoint as far as running the football to help the defense. What doesn't get talked about enough is if your defense is playing like ass, it doesn't help your offense.
Yep.
If your defense is playing like ass, you can't run the football.
So, and those are the Cliff reports, right? Like those are the ones and they make total sense, and I can't push back on that, right?
And
like
that's where I go. Yeah, is like if you want to talk about like the flaws on the defense, and maybe that it goes beyond just injuries, but I do think the injuries have a lot to do with it. But in the case in point being, Marshawn Lattimore was a lot worse than you expected him to be, and you didn't think Mike Sanders still was going to regress.
Yep.
Who you blame for both of those things? Take responsibility, whoever wants to, but those are things that are baked in. But the piece that I don't think is talked about from the complimentary standpoint is when you have a piece of shit defense, you can't do the things that you want to do offensively the way you would want to.
Yeah. And here, I agree with that, by the way. Here's Mr. Rogers. I'd rather go with something new than to try again with Cliff and it be the same, if that makes sense. And I feel like we've beaten this, with a bat, ad nauseum. Any final thoughts there on Cliff?
I would ask everybody when you have the conversations about like what it means from a long-term standpoint to build and develop a team, do you think, what do you need to see or not see to make you want to move on compared to thinking that you're not giving things enough time to work? And I think that to me is that I'm much more patient than I think other people are.
You are.
Because I think that there's a fundamental flaw in the way that football is operated for the most part, in the way that they develop quarterbacks, in the way that they have the leashes on certain coaches. In my opinion, there is no reason for Raheem Morris to be fired in Atlanta. I think it's stupid. I think especially after what you just saw him going on the run. You got 2 seasons with him. What are you doing? And you look at what's happening as far from a talent standpoint. If you want to blame for Michael Penix, okay. If that's
I think that's what happened.
Possibly. But like there are situations that happen where these guys get fired that I'm just like, okay, you guys are going to be right back here in this mix again, right? Like sometimes you can look at something to say it's fundamentally flawed from the get-go. I look at Chicago. What they were doing as far as like ruining quarterback after quarterback, I was just like, why are you giving Eberflus more chances at this? Like I get that. I just don't see after 2 years of one you being in an NFC Championship game and the other one being that your team got more decimated than any other team in the league as far as injuries go. And I'm sorry, but every team that I've ever seen historically that get the most decimated by injuries in the league do not have success.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And the San Francisco 49ers this year, I don't think people can point to that and be like, oh, see, it could be done. That's an anomaly. I think everyone acknowledges that. That's watched football for a very long time. Here's B. Wheeler. We got 2 comments left, K. B. Wheeler. Watching the Bears win last night has made this Commanders season even worse. This is the year I became a sore loser due to expectation and standards. I'm usually detached and laugh at our misery in the Snyder years, but the misery was able to attach itself to me this season. I need to see a complete turnaround, a playoff appearance, and progression with our young quarterback, like I'm seeing with all the young quarterbacks in Jayden's draft class. I cannot accept Bears, Patriots, and Broncos putting the right pieces together to support their young, talented quarterbacks, while ours gets ragdolled and expected to be Superman on every play. I need Jayden to lock in and work on regaining his accuracy, quick throws, and pre-snap reads. I need AP to tone down the hubris. He comes off like he is the smartest guy in the room and ended up letting players walk who are contributing on playoff teams. I'm also underwhelmed by our new OC, but I'll give him a chance. I truly wanted Mike McDaniel, but there was a chance we would not have landed him or only been able to retain him for 1 year. We got 3/4 of a year of non-Commanders football to sit with this. I'm not optimistic or pessimistic, but I am watchful. Truly a wait and see, time will tell situation. K-Dot, your reaction to that comment?
That felt a little all over the place to me.
No, it's frustration, right? It's anger, it's event, it's fresh off of the Bears victory, right? Go ahead.
So, yeah, a lot of that stuff I just fundamentally reject because I don't feel that way emotionally. My expectations were different. Yeah, man, I'd just be repeating the same shit I always repeat. It's just like I'm not on the same page as you guys as far as like what the expectations were going into this season and what the end of result being. I will say going into this offseason, because of what happened to the defense and the way that the defense went, I expect Adam Peters to be more aggressive. And because
taking a swing or two in free agency, what do you mean?
I think you have to, and in secondary especially. I do think you need to take some swings there.
We're on it, baby. This is the age analysis where I was like, we got to take a swing. I'm glad we're on the same page.
I think in the secondary specifically,
Yeah.
the defensive line, you got some questions for me as far as like the Dietrich Wise coming back, and if you're gonna have a lot of these guys come back potentially. Like I want Darsh Armstrong back badly. Like I want some of these guys back to see what happens when they're healthy.
He was on a 3-year deal, so he'll be back.
Regardless of what I don't know what anybody's contracts.
Okay,
like.
sounds good.
No
Well, I'll
saying,
organize that for one of our upcoming episodes.
Just overall, like I want to see a lot of the continuity with some of these guys and just see them healthy as far as a unit. But I do think you need to take some swings because, in all honesty, from my opinion, I think the Jaden piece is not that difficult, honestly, because I think the offense works. I think that I've seen enough guys open that if Jaden took that hit, the offense looks entirely differently than what it did look like. And if Jaden's there the entire season getting better. I look back at that what was it, what fucking game was it? That he was on fire at the beginning and then he didn't get the football. Was it the Eagles' first game? Because it was like we didn't get the football back until
talking about
like
this
15 fucking
season?
minutes. This season.
Well, it was Minnesota.
That's the Minnesota game. Game, Jaden comes out and I'm like,
He looks great.
He's back.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get the football back for like an hour and a half. It was like, oh shit. And then it went back. To me, if Jaden's healthy and the team is healthy and I got a year of that, of making progress, that to me is why I'm saying I don't think it's that far off. I was with Von Miller. I think, and this is where motherfuckers might look at me like I'm crazy. I look at you motherfuckers like you're crazy. I think next year is you can make a run. I think next year you can make a run.
What does that mean?
I think you're playing above your pay grade, but I think you're one of those teams that like you're feisty and you don't want to see this team in the playoffs, but you can make the playoffs. And if you're in the playoffs, you don't want to see these guys. It's the way I feel about Chicago to a certain degree. I don't trust Chicago a whole lot. I don't want to be around them because they got some shit happening that don't make sense, and they got some magic about what it is they're doing. And if you look at it from talent standpoint, it's like, I mean, they do have some talent here and there. They got enough. I think Washington could be right in that lane next year when healthy. Honest to God.
Again, I had this team winning the Super Bowl, and I did it with obviously some homerism, but also a degree of logic, and a lot of injuries took place that did shape the way that this season looked. So I believe in the talent that we had. We'll see what it looks like this offseason. We'll see who the defensive coordinator is. We'll see how the conversation. I will say this around Adam Peters, like I've got a more watchful eye on Adam and the timing of things, right? I did not like the timing of the Terry McLaurin stuff, for example.
And I think he agrees with you.
Yeah, because I do think it had an effect on Terry's health. Ultimately,
I think that's
which affected the season, which then now Cliff's gone, right? If we're talking about, right? So like, I think that there's stuff to learn there. But I believed in what we had last season, roster-wise. I think it should get better, and I'm curious to see. One thing you had mentioned, AP being a bit more aggressive this offseason. There is a rumor floating around that Bleacher Report put out. I know my feeling on it, and I believe I know your feeling too. It would be, we would get Max Crosby. Have you seen this?
No.
We would get Max Crosby. We trade this year's first, a fifth, and next year's first. Would you do it? Yes or no?
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not even close.
I kind of want, like, I do like the idea of Max Crosby on the team, but to me, all right, here's what I'll say. The unit, to me, that is the only thing that, injury, whatever, is not good, is a failure, is the secondary.
Yes.
So, like, where I go, it's like everything else I feel as though we're kind of on pace, where we're at commensurate to talent compared to injuries, things like that. I still feel you're on the right trajectory. The wild card in the sense of, hey, guys, it isn't working. I go into this season questioning the secondary, right? Because I never trusted Marshawn and the safeties. It was like, is Tyler Owens going to take a step
Within
forward?
2 games, you said Trey Amos was our best player at the secondary.
So immediately it becomes, hey, this needs to be addressed. Because if you go into next season with this, you're fucked again. So, like, that's where I go with. Everything else, I'm more of a, like, hey, I don't think you got to do that much. I don't think you got to go crazy. Secondary, wholesale, burn it. Burn it to the fucking ground.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with you there. That's why I'm particularly high. We'll get to draft talk later on Caleb Downs. but we'll see if he's available at 7. I think because of positional value and how things work, he will be, but that's a conversation for another time. We conclude with Jess Santo.
Oh.
Shout out. Welcome to the couch, coach. Get your Kelly Green Snuggie, some hot cocoa, and enjoy the Philadelphia OC shenanigans with the rest of this horrendous division. Blough, there it is. At first, I hated the decision to fire Cliff, and I thought Witt was merely getting demoted and staying on the team. The decision seemed drastic and impulsive. The more I thought about it and listened to other people's thoughts on it, I realized they have been planning on these moves for a while. The Witt decision was completely understandable, but Cliff did a decent job working with the box of scraps all season. In agreement with you guys, there was too much of a regression in fundamentals, communication, and overall concepts, which points directly to coaching. Dan Quinn is big on teaching and development, and what he saw this season must have drove him nuts. While Quinn himself regressed on clock management, there is no doubt that the locker room was excellent. The players were still bought in, and they did not quit on the season. The Blough promotion is actually starting to look brilliant. Essentially, you're killing two birds with one stone. You're getting a young and innovative offensive mind that we've all been clamoring for since Johnson burned us, while keeping continuity with our young star quarterback. He was drawing interest from Detroit and probably other teams, and they had to move quickly before he was poached. I wonder if Pritchard initially was in the running for the promotion. I think the problem with Cliff's offense was actually the nonstop shotgun. Yes, it does make a difference. It limits your play action, run game, pre-snap looks, pass protection, and goal line formations. This is a huge gamble for Quinn, and he has sealed his fate by it. If it goes horribly wrong, he's fired. If it goes beyond our wildest dreams, he might have promoted his replacement. As far as DC, I'd like Bowles if he becomes available. To be honest, our defenses have sucked since Greg Williams left. Just bring him back. Can't be any worse than the bullshit we've seen over the past decade and a half. I knew this was going to be a wild offseason. It's not disappointing like the regular season did. Love the show. Pass the dookie. K. Your reaction to Jess Santos, to me, masterful 10 out of 10 comment, which summarized an hour and 50 minutes of the show.
I had a moment just now where I felt like maybe I didn't take my meds today and that maybe I'm bipolar and like I'm Jess like until the end.
Oh, where no, Mr. Robot action. Sorry, spoilers.
Until like I've never been more lockstep with any comment until the end. Whereas like as far as the hot seat Dan Quinn piece, I don't know. But the one thing that I will say now that makes sense to me, and the last Hard Knocks episode made me love Dan Quinn even more than I already do. It made me adore Dan Quinn more than I ever do. And I do think the one thing that I have not necessarily said, but I think Jess has just lit the fire for me. I think there's a chance that the reason that Cliff and Witt are gone, they didn't live up to the standard in the sense of the way that they were teaching these people. So, like, I don't think the offense is flawed or is broken. I think Cliff Kingsbury got more out of the offense than anything, but I don't think the accountability piece for Jaden was correct, and I think that's not up to the standard for Dan. I look at the secondary and I say the regression that Mike Sanderstone made, the regression that some of these guys made, and I say Dan Quinn's like, when I see Dan Quinn on the field in training, in the practice field doing this stuff, makes me feel as though Witt wasn't. And makes me feel as though Dan's like, you guys aren't teaching the way you need to teach, and that's not my standard. And if that's the case, I'm all for it. I'm all for it across the board. And the thing is, when I look at some of the fundamental aspects of things, with Jaden specifically, rest of the offense I don't really have a whole lot of criticism for, but Jaden himself, and on defense, I can look at damn near everybody on the defense except for Bobby Wagner, even though he fucked up at certain points. You remember, I called out so many people on the defense. Everyone had an opportunity to fuck it up on the defense, and that goes to fundamental coaching. And I do think if Dan Quinn let Witt do his thing, he's like, this is not my standard. Yeah.
See, for me, when I think of the coordinators, and this is perhaps just a deeper conversation of roles and responsibilities, a lot of this comes down to roles and responsibilities.
I think they cleared it up now. I think I know who's responsible for what now.
Well, I'm not sure I'm particularly clear on it. I get the personnel, right? Like that belongs to the coordinators, it looks like, and Dan Quinn has final say, but I don't think he's overruling anybody based on his words, based on Adam Peters' words, right? He's fully trusting these guys to do that from the X's and O's standpoint and the personnel standpoint. Now, in terms of player regression, I don't know that I put that on Joe Witt, for example. I still look at Tommy Donatel and the positional coaches and go, are you the guys teaching, or is it the coordinator as well? Right? Like, I think the coordinator is, these are my pieces. This is how I see the X's and O's over the flow of the game. This is what we want to be able to do. From a technique standpoint, what do the position coaches do otherwise? Like, that's what I think that they're doing, is reinforcing fundamentals, making sure that they're gearing these guys towards the scheme. Yeah. So I look at them and go, guys, what the fuck? Right? Like, Tommy Donatel's still there. I don't think he will be once we hire this defensive coordinator. I feel kind of bad singling him out without knowing the roles and responsibilities. I look at position coaches when I see regression.
I would not deny that. I would just say, who's responsible for your position coaches? And sure
exactly. And so that's where it goes to the coordinator once again.
Hard Knocks, you remember I criticized, like, why the fuck do I not see
just the one tight end in the room? Yeah.
What's that? Like, or why does it look like Bobby Wagner's teaching his own class?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening there?
And how to buy Christmas gifts? Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're asking me what the fuck do the position coaches do, I'm with you. But I also say, if you're going to ask who's responsible for that, from what I look like or what I'm seeing is that Dan Quinn is leaving it up to those guys to be in charge of these people. And when I have to see Dan Quinn, and the thing is, like, I will give credit for Dan Quinn taking over the defense eventually. I do think it was too late. But if we're talking about the position coaches and the position groups, and I look at the coordinators more directly, I think. I'm not going to say they're more responsible. I just think it's a more direct thing.
I kind of... I wish we had a little more time. We're running up against a hard stop, like a StreamYard hard stop, because it just chops us at 2 hours. But this is where the DJ Williams thing is so intriguing to me. Like, was David Blough the one that was like, I want to interview this guy, right? So, like, we talk about they get to choose their staffs and stuff like that. That one I'm still curious about.
I don't think Blough's choosing a staff here.
Okay, right. So, but
it's not
prior to, sure, but prior to, was that the case? Right? Like, I'm curious, like, did Joe Witt choose his entire staff, right? Did Cliff choose his entire staff? Is David Blough choosing his entire staff, right? No. Like that. Okay. No. Right. So, like, but that's part of it for me. Right. So that's why the DJ Williams thing.
Yeah. Cliff picked Blough. I don't think he didn't pick Tavita, of course. And he picked, or I guess he was okay with
chose to retain. Right.
And Bobby. But, like, I think everybody else, I think everybody, as far as position coaches, I draw direct links to Quinn.
Okay.
For the most part. So, like, I see that. But that's the thing is, like, I don't think you have to hire your guys. I don't think it's important to. Like, as far as if you're a coordinator having your own guys in there, I don't think it's. Yeah. I think.
And Blough still interviewed DJ Williams, to be clear.
No,
it's not like he didn't talk to him.
No, of course. I don't think he said.
Talked to him. He was like,
"There's no
he's
chance."
good.
He said, "I don't want him," and they're like, "Fuck you, you're going to do it anyway." I don't think that's the case. I don't think that I think that that's leveraging too much responsibility through the coordinator.
Assigning, okay, so but therefore, going back to the positional coach and coordinator who's in charge, right? Like Joe maybe signed off, right? And no, you can do the credit on the sign off. But
do you choose your coworkers?
No.
And if you're a manager, well, here's the thing: you can be a manager at a place, right? And you don't choose the people, your subordinates. I could still hold you to a standard as far as what you're doing or how you're communicating with those subordinates.
Yes, you can.
That's where I'm at.
Fair.
Is it like I look at that and I say, okay, fucker, if somebody's fucking up at a positional group standpoint and you're uncomfortable with having the conversation with them, then I think you have a problem with holding people accountable.
Fair enough. And see, guys, we're going to have a lot of deeper conversations like this one.
Off-season, baby.
All off season. And I hope that does distinguish us from the other ones where, they're going to be chasing names. Obviously, we're going to be talking about defensive coordinators, their styles. Ken and I also like to look into the nitty-gritty of how an organization works and stuff like that. This was the show.
I actually think we want to open it up. Like, I think that there's an opportunity right now as far as from a common mailbagger standpoint, because of the way these conversations are going to go this offseason. If you want to be on the fucking show.
Yes, actually, just let us know.
Let us know.
Right?
We'll coordinate.
Feel free to launch it off of your, and all of a sudden we got our little podcast tree. That'd be pretty sweet. I'm Amit. That is K-Dot. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode in its entirety. If you did, props to you. An hour 57 over here. If you enjoyed the episode where we talked about David Blough's hiring, we touched on DJ Williams at the very end. We talked about the defensive coordinator search, the stadium, the playoffs, and the comment mailbag as we always do. And thank you guys for it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
I just remember I got to drive all the way down to fucking Virginia to place bets for Hard Rock because I got a bunch of bonus bets and they're going to expire this weekend. Fuck! I guess your boy's hitting the road. Shit!
Share this shit. We greatly appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking around with us, and we will see you every Friday, 2 p.m. moving forward. So until then, take it easy.
Fuck ICE, and if you stand with them, fuck you too.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.